Welcome to day number 3 of the group stage here at Riyadh Masters, everybody.
حياكم الله أعزائنا المشاهدين في اليوم الثالث من الجروب ستيج هنا في رياض ماسترز في عاصمة المملكة العربية السعودية في الرياض.
Over 130 games have already been played here, and we're just about past the halfway point to figuring out who's getting eliminated, upper bracket, lower bracket, all the action.
ما عاد صار في فرص ثانية لكل الفرق المتواجدة معنا 16 فريق من الأفضل في العالم الآن ما عندهم إلا آخر فرصة والفرصة ما قبل الأخيرة إنهم يقدرون يرجعون إلى القمة ويتأهلوا معنا للبلاي أوفز.
All right, so with that in mind, Fancy, I think it's time I started hearing some of your predictions around here. We made it through halfway. I want to know, who's your favorite right now to take Riyadh Masters 2023?
I mean, Tanami, I don't want to seem biased, but honestly, I would love to see a back-to-back championship happening here in Riyadh Masters, so I would go for PSGLGD. But, I mean, you already know.
Yeah, I mean, they're not as on fire as they were last year, but the group stage is still, the margins are razor thin. They're 3 and 5, top of the group is 5 and 3. You were saying biased. I thought you were just going to go Quest, the MENA qualifier, just like that.
I mean, we're going to see them very soon here on stage, and we're going to see how they're going to perform against one of the best teams in the world. أعزائنا المشاهدين جاء الوقت اللي نقدم فيه أحد الفرق اللي متواجدين معنا الآن أول مرة يظهرون في المسرح فريق ثاني متعودين على المسرح هذا خلونا نشوف مين هم.
Now me, I thought that if you did go for Quest, you wouldn't be a bandwagoner. Honestly, they're exceeding expectations. They have been not that tested yet. In fact, maybe the last time that they were tested here, it was a smaller Saudi league that had been going on.
اللي ما يدري أعزائنا المشاهدين كان فيه فرصة أننا نشهد بعض لاعبين كويست وأيضا بعض لاعبين جي جي زي توفو أن إيس كانوا متواجدين هنا في الرياض وفازوا الدوري السعودي الإلكتروني في عام 2021 فشيء جميل مرة أن راح نشهدهم من هنا. And I think you need to say that in English as well because everyone needs to know about this.
There have been a couple of players that have made appearances here in Riyadh, and Tofu and Ace actually have history, and one of the players that you're about to meet, Noob, has also been here, but that's enough from me. Why don't we bring him out? Quest Esports! Some of these teams, they have a honeymoon period. They look good in the beginning. As time progresses, they start to fall off. Quest seems to buck that trend every single time.
فريق كويست متواجدين عندنا في المسرح ثاني مرة على التوالي في الجروب ستيج حتى الآن. صراحة بعض الفرق أول ما يتكونون مع بعض يكون في عندهم أداء جدا جدا عالي ممتاز، لكن بعد فترة يرتقي أدائهم بشكل جدا كبير، لكن الفريق هذا حتى الآن هو في القمة مع أنه الشيء هذا ما نشوفه كثير. في أول ظهور لهم على المسرح Evil Geniuses. هذا الفريق ما كان متواجد السنة الماضية في رياض ماسترز، لاعبين اللي عندهم على طراز عالمي، لكن المرة هذه بيكون عندهم أول فرصة يثبتون نفسهم هنا على المسرح في أحد الفرص الأخيرة للتأهل للبلاي أوفز في رياض ماسترز.
This is actually the first time that a South American team has taken the stage here at Riyadh Masters. 2022, no South American teams made it, and here in 2023, they are carrying the torch for the entire region.
في جنوب أمريكا الفريق هذا كان عنده إنجازات جدا عظيمة، لكن الفترة الأخيرة ما كانوا في الأداء الأفضل، والآن عندهم فرصة يثبتون الشيء هذا هنا في المسرح.
Now Quest already have a little bit of history on this stage, but Evil Geniuses, don't worry. It's time for you guys to take the stage, take the chairs, take the game in your hands and let's get this draft started.
خلونا على طول نروح مع المعلقين والمحللين أعزائنا المشاهدين لأن جاء الوقت اللي نبدأ فيه المباراة الأولى جروب ستيج اليوم الثالث. ما عاد صار في فرص كثيرة، على طول مع الاستديو.
Thank you very much, Tsunami and Fancy. We are here for seeing Quest and Evil Geniuses go head-to-head. And I want to focus on the nitty-gritty. I want to focus on the Dota 2 because, Faith Beyond, you already said earlier that you feel like the wins that Evil Geniuses has gotten thus far were mostly off the back of a very small hero pool. How do you feel Quest is going to try to exploit that? Do you think that there's just going to be bans on the Legion Commander that you mentioned, for example?
Yeah, I think for now the best choice is just ban the hero, what they already pick, because even they play some better things you never seen. It's also a good thing that you can know. That you can know. Oh, they can also do this. So next time you meet them, you will do better.
It's pretty funny to see a first phase Legion Commander ban because that is very, very targeted indeed. As mentioned, they go for the Timbersaw as well. Quest on Radiant side, E.G. Dire. Snapfire on Dying banned out Effie. Other than the Legion Commander, not too much unusual things happening here.
I wonder how they're going to approach the Darkseer in this first phase, because EG's typical approach to Darkseer has just been to let it through and first phase Enchantress. That way they have a means to fight him on lane with Enchantress's Dispel. But now they're not in first pick, so they're in the position to pick Darkseer for themselves and potentially get Enchantress. So I am curious to see this play out. But on the topic of the LC, so they take the Enchantress for themselves. The question is, are they taking the Darkseer here or just dangling it for a quest? But on the topic of Elsie, I just think Whisper has been so impressive with it. I saw him win lane, or not lose lane rather, versus Monkey King, which is very rare for Elsies. Like, that's one of his worst, or her worst, matchups in the game.
It just feels like Legion is streaking a little bit at this tournament, to be honest. Like, we even saw that, I don't know if you saw the clip on Reddit, but XXS got ganked and he killed like a Sven and a support, and the third hero barely killed him. It happened yesterday, so it's just a really strong hero at the moment.
Well, no Darkseer in the opening 2 coming out here, but the Bat Rider going here for Evil Geniuses with the Primal Beast for Quest. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, we normally like to see the Bat as a support, but does that change, Faith Beyond, when you're talking about Whisper Bat? Because surely he's still a monster.
Yeah, and also C-Smile is a very good Bat Rider player, so Bat Rider definitely have more potential in this team.
It is a very strong flex for EG. I mean, historically, Whisper has been so dominant on this hero, but I think the best thing they can do is keep the flex open, but currently, to me, Bat Rider's best role does feel like support, especially when you're playing against Primal. You can just disrupt his rotations with your very own without like committing too much by way of losing net worth. But the best thing they can do, like we mentioned, keep it open.
Yeah, they've played it once as on Matthew as 4 and once on Whisper so far, just in 2 games. So definitely still very open. Certainly.
10 seconds remaining.
I'd say Enchantress is also quite the good hero versus Primal Beast because he doesn't like to play versus the Enchant slow in the early game. The thing about that, though, is it goes both ways because teams love to pick Primal versus Enchantress because from the mid lane, he just rotates on her so early and eats her. And we've seen how effective Enchantress is in the mid-game teamfights where if you're not going on her first, she's dishing out so much damage with her impetus. So having a hero like Primal Beast who can get on top of her in these mid-game teamfights and take her out is going to be very valuable for Quest.
And even if you just kill her like 2, maybe 3 times, it slows down her late game so much. Because a lot of getting items as support is like never dying, getting experience from the team fights because you haven't died, you get more kills. So it like really delays this like homing missile thing that you get in the late game.
And is Primal Beast enough of a hero to be the one to jump on the Enchantress, or would you like to see a, I don't know, second hero that can do the same?
I would say so. I feel like Primal Beast has been enough historically versus Enchantress, but having a secondary jump with Primal Beast is always going to be your best route, just so you can secure the core targets as well at later stages of the game.
Geniuses turn to ban.
We'll see if any of the spirits end up making it through with that in mind. We got Templar Assassin, Morphling, and Bloodseeker banned out against quests. Quite a few of them just being good against Primal, so you don't want to have to deal with that. And then on the side of Evil Geniuses is the Shadow Demon band,
10 seconds
and the face is Void. The save, I guess, against the Bat Rider, they don't want to have to deal with the support that can save in that way, or potentially they are looking for an illusion hero. What do we make of these bands, Faith Beyond? Do you think that Evil Geniuses is telegraphing something that they are looking for with their bands?
I'm not sure. It depends on what they want to pick in the pick coming right now. I think maybe they can just ban Oracle to keep protect their Bat Rider. And we can looking forward what they will pick in this 15th pick. I think this will decide where Bat Rider go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Oracle ban would be pretty convenient because that way it opens up for a Darkseer on the side of EG as well, right? Not just protecting their Bat Rider. And they've protected their Bat Rider with the Shadow Demon ban too.
Yeah.
Faceless Void has been a very impactful hero for TA 2000, so I understand why they take it out because it can also set up for some kind of ranged damage.
Okay, I think this is a post 3 Bat Rider for sure. Almost.
Oh, they waste no time on Quest to go for the Phoenix and the Naga Siren combination.
Well, they can definitely save whoever gets gone on now with Sunray, whether it's the frontline Primal Beast or the Naga Siren. Their team fight's extremely good too. They could do like egg song combos.
Yeah.
Like it looks very effective.
Yeah.
They need a ranged egg hitter, something to pair on lane with Clockwork, potentially. Or I mean, they could put the Clockwork on position for it too. But they do need to address this Phoenix Supernova because they don't have good heroes for it right now.
Yeah, Phoenix was the 3rd most played hero for Kaori. Shadow Demon was the 1st. Maybe that's the reason it got banned second phase. So going for their follow-up picks. But yeah, some range carry sounds good for sure. Something that's, but most range carries aren't that good against Naga Siren, I feel like.
What is good against Naga Siren? The Beastmaster is good against
That
Naga
works,
Siren. Yep,
Not bad.
not bad.
Attack speed for your team too to hit the egg. Now
Yeah.
Clockwork can be your egg hitter.
Now we know that it's a mid Bat Rider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mad Bat Rider.
And I think it's very comfortable to go mid versus the Primal Beast. It should be one of its better matchups. But can you talk to me a little bit about the Naga Siren? Like, how do you feel about it in this game, Faithian?
I really like this two pick, this combo pick, Naga and Phoenix, because in this case, Naga is against these 3 heroes. Naga have a very great game, and also you secure your team fight. And they already have initiation with Beast, so I think they have a very structured and very good lineup.
Yeah, their team fight initiation looks pretty solid. You can have the Naga running into choke points with her song, which could set up for a good supernova, and you have the Primal Beast to defend the egg. Or on the other hand, you could also use the song to defend the egg defensively if Phoenix is put in a bad situation. But what EG have going for them, I think, is solid lanes. Their laning is really strong right now because Enchantress, Batrider are lane dominators, and Beastmaster, it's very difficult to see him lose lanes even versus heroes like Naga unless he gets countered by something like a Medusa on lane.
Yeah, I could see the fast eggs on Beastmaster has been pretty impactful in a couple matches this week so far, so I could definitely see it be very effective here too. It would really give a lot of frontline for EG when they go for early fights. Like, those 4 heroes on EG are just super ready to fight from the start of the game.
The question is, are we going to see the Pakaz Sven come out now that Alchemist gets banned by Quest? Because Alchemist would have been their best option right now versus this Naga.
But Sven is definitely not a good option here because Primal Beast can just grab you and you cannot waste your hit on egg, so Sven is very tough here.
The only hero that he's picked so far this tournament that he could pick here is CK. It's the only hero not banned that he's played, or he's gonna have to pick somebody new. Morph is gone, Legion's gone, or Sven, I guess.
I quite dislike CK versus Phoenix, but I think CK in terms of lane sustain is always going to be valuable, so they could just use him as a hero that enables Enchantress to rotate to mid, which I think sounds like a cool idea.
And then you see the benefits of the Flex Primal. They had to ban an offlaner and a mid on the EG side, really showing the value there.
One of the carries that we see quite a bit over the last couple of days that's still in the pool for Evil Geniuses potentially is the Terrorblade. Is that just not a good matchup against the Naga Siren?
I think it's one of I think it's one of TB's harder matchups because historically, like when TB uses meta, you just use Song to disengage, reset the fight. He also can't really fight melee to her if she focuses on the TB, but you could always play TB as a tempo hero. Not necessarily as a hero to fight the Naga, but end the game before she's strong. I don't like it very much though, if I'm being honest.
I'm kind of worried about it against Primal Beast as well. There's a lot of times that a mid Primal will just like zip into your lane and blow you up really quick. But last pick here for Quest, they either pick an off lane or they pick a mid. If they pick an off lane, then it's Primal Beast mid and vice versa.
Yeah, they know they're going up against a Bat Rider, so is there a better matchup in the pool that would fit, is the question.
And I think for their draft, Mars looks pretty synergetic. The issue is if you pick Mars here, he can get punished very hard by EG's last pick carry, because he is one of the easier offlaners to punish if you have last pick. Like you can go for something like a Monkey King or an Ursa, things like that. And Ursa would be pretty good at hitting Egg here. So they're in a tricky situation. If you're ever in a situation where you're potentially last picking your offlaner versus an enemy 24 pick, you have to think very clearly.
Well, they don't have a lot much more time to think about that because 5 seconds on the clock. They end up going for a Spirit after all. It's the Storm one. And that means that we're going to have the Primal Beast on the off lane with Noob getting his hands on his Storm Spirit.
I mean, it looks fine. Gives them a second option to initiate. Before this, it was pretty much Primal Beast going in first, or something more clunky like Song or Lift. So, it seems okay. There's not that much lockdown on the EG side. It's basically Clockwork and Beast, and maybe a Blink from Lasso. So.
Yeah. Storm is very good pick. It's actually to stop Beastmaster pushing tower.
Yeah, I think Storm is great here. You have the initiation, you have the ability to go on this Enchantress with the Primal Beast, and there's not much lockdown, like we mentioned. It's also a way to rotate on Beastmaster and potentially kick him out of the jungle, which is something you always have to do. The only concern I have right now for Quest is their Primal Beast.
Actually, Juggernaut is a hero, I think, for Evil Genius. But after Storm come out, I feel maybe a little bit of struggle, but I think they don't have better choice, so still Juggernaut. I think it's very fit for their lineup.
Yeah, I like the synergy with the Healing Ward and the Beastmaster tempo. That means you can get towers very early. You have Ench plus Beastmaster. So you're going to look at this mid tower being taken after Beastmaster's towers being taken. You also have the scaling of Juggernaut. He itemizes very well versus Naga. His Blade Fury is good versus Song. So I do like it a lot. The issue I have with Quest lineup right now is I feel like their Primal Beast is really weak this game. Like it's countered by the Clockwork, it's countered on lane by the Enchantress. Enchantress is just gonna clap butt cheeks, you know? Bat Rider can also just crush it later on, so there's a lot on Storm's shoulders.
Yeah, the juggle does look pretty good. You can spin kill egg as well, so it solves some of those problems that EG was looking for, and their tempo should be pretty high with it.
With that in mind, though, I heard that Juggernaut used to always be referred to as an early carry, early coming online carry. Is that still the case, Purge, or is that slightly changed?
It's slightly changed because of his 20 talent. It gives you this like big lifesteal advantage. Most lifesteal, it's based on how much damage you do, but for some reason that talent, after armor reduction is what most lifesteal does. But in his case, it just does it based on your raw damage. So he gets way more lifesteal than he's supposed to. So it allows him to like become a very competitive carry when he buys Ags and Omni slashes people. You can basically go to full heal sometimes just by using it.
So late game, Juggernaut's still very much able to go toe-to-toe with Naga.
Yeah, he's able to fight a lot longer than he used to be able to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which draft do you favor at the end of it, Faith Beyond?
I think Quest, because I really think they have a so solid team fight, and I think it's really, really crucial in this game.
I like EG's more, just because I feel like it fits their style very well, with strong lanes and strong tempo, and I feel like Quest's team fight could pose to be an issue, but EG won't allow them to take good fights.
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier for EG to get little pickoffs and things like that, but Quest does have much better team fights, so if the pickoffs don't go very good for EG, Quest should win.
Well, let's find out how this first game of this two-game series will play itself out. We're finding out together with Cap and SVG.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day number 3 of the group stage. We are starting off with a really good match, I think. Quest versus Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses have just, I mean, over the last few years, right, Avery, this squad, South America in general, getting more and more competitive on the international stage every single year. They're climbing in the rankings, and Riyadh Masters could be the peak here for a South American team. Evil Geniuses would definitely be the team to keep an eye on, because I guess Beast Coast didn't make it. Meanwhile, Quest, you know, maybe in a shorter period, but similar kind of idea, they have also been scaling up the ranks pretty quickly.
And already starting off with a free ward for Matthew.
Yeah.
Probably the hero you want the extra XP on here. The entire region is once again on EG's shoulders here, as like you said, Beast Coast taking early exits, and maybe a position that could do well for them because they are bouncing back from Bali. Like, that tournament was disappointing. They had some health issues and stuff there that didn't pan out for them. It was just a rough tournament. I think at a certain point they wrote it off. Go next. Well, going next is working out pretty well. If they can do well in this series, then they're in a very strong position. However, Quest, a very tough opponent to be going on in their home region, so to say. Always have some home court advantage. It does help a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I like that story of them bringing in Malik with the Kazakhstan roots.
Yeah,
They had played together. They're very familiar. I think that's part of the reason that it's gelled so fast.
Did they actually say that they had played together?
Yeah.
Well, I went back through their history, and I was like, these, I could not find a team that they were on together at the same time.
Oh, I don't think TA2000 played with them.
Oh,
They were just familiar in the scene. Like, they came up together.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
that kind of tells a story of why it has worked so quickly, because from my point of view, I did not expect them to continue to excel at the level that they showed at Bali when you change a player. Not just because it's ATF or whatever. I just think anytime you switch an offlaner, especially, so much of the dynamic of the team changes. The farm priority, the tempo creators, the initiators, your hero pools. It's just a big gap, right? Malik is a very different player.
And we
so
put
you gotta
offlane
make it work.
as maybe the most important role right now.
I think offlane's always the most important.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I talked to other analysts. They agree the same. So, you know, to have such a crucial role be changed is always very important.
No, it's a very cool team. Both these teams are very, I want to say greedy and fast at the same time. In a way, you have the highest GPM team at the tournament in Quest, I believe. They are #1 right now.
Oh, really?
So they are extracting the most gold off the map. And then I always feel like Pakaza eventually ends up in the top 2 or 3 carries in terms of how much gold he's taking off the map. And he's definitely going to take higher percentage compared to most carry players. But I feel like him and TA2000 are actually very similar. If you look at how these two carries are trying to drive the game and control for their team, 1, it's a lot of farm priority, but 2, it's joining a lot of fights with that farm priority and being pretty active with the gold, paying it back with high KDA, and Malik off to a fast start with Primal, even versus this Clockwork lane, which can sometimes cause you problems. That is a good sign for Quest, because they kind of had to choose between throwing this Primal mid into the bat matchup or picking another mid laner and sacrificing an Aura Buyer. They took the latter route, sacrificed an Aura Buyer. Primal's going to give you more damage. He's not going to necessarily give you like what an Underlord would have or something in this game, but you get the better matchup on mid in the Storm Spirit for Noob. So if you can get the Primal and the Storm out to a fast start, then this Naga's going to push the waves in, and you're just going to be picking EG apart on the map.
Do you think that means that Kiori on the Phoenix is going to try and pick up some auras when he can? Obviously, it's going to be much slower than an offlaner getting it. Or are you just writing off auras entirely in this game?
No, I won't ever write them off. And I mean, Phoenix is a great hero to make up for a lack of sustain just based off the Sunray. I'm going to try and go on Matthew here. Even have the extra blood grenade.
TA2000 with the early pickup of the ensnare will help ensure that they get this kill. And looks like the Fire Spirits will do what damage it can, but Kiori will eventually fall in return.
All right, I don't think Matthew's too sad about that. I think they rather accelerate the Beast here. Honestly, I think the Ench can probably have some impact if you can get that one Storm gank in. That's what you're looking for if you're Matthew here. More than maybe lingering around the bottom too much longer, though getting your level 3 delayed is going to feel bad.
Yeah.
One of these interesting combinations also, I think, the Phoenix Primal Beast, I think, is an underrated combination. Because I don't think a lot of people think of Primal still as this BKB piercing disable.
Yeah.
Due to that chain. It's not ingrained in people's brains. It's not like an Axe or a Legion. Still, it functions the same way. The Primal can go in and protect the egg. And then Sunray on the largest strength gain in the game. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, yeah. No, that actually makes a lot of sense. They both have a decent amount of mobility as well, which I think is pretty nice.
The range of initiation is very similar on the two heroes. There's not a lot of supports that can follow up on a Primal going super deep in the fight. Phoenix is one of those while providing AoE control in the egg. These heroes just work really well together. I think it's
really nice body blocking here from TA2000 with the Naga Siren. Now he's going to lose Kiori, but TA2000 will happily take the solo experience. Meanwhile, big dive in mid. Noob's going to pull back C-Smile. C-Smile in some trouble here. Unable to get the kill on the Storm Spirit. And now we'll experience a rebuttal here from Omar with the TPN. Should be able to secure the kill. A wand, but one final hit, or a second final hit, or a Fade Bolt will finally do it.
Yeah, the Lotus of all things. So them winning top translates into that kill. I don't know if he gets it without the Lotus for the Fade Bolt mana.
Yeah,
a lot of little things going Quest's way as they are already jumping out decently ahead on 3 lanes here. Winning in net worth and all of them on top of that CS. Great early start for a lineup that wants to have the damage out in front, so when the push comes through the Beastmaster and the Enchantress, you can respond accordingly with your Storm and Primal, meeting them at those towers and shutting them down. If that happens for Quest in the next like 5 minutes here, they're going to be super happy with the map state, because then all of a sudden, where are you going if you're EG? You got to just run your heads into the brick wall that are going to be the tier 1s that Quest are happy to defend every time. Sure. Especially for their 2 supports. Rubik and Phoenix, you keep these tier 1s up, these supports are going to get a lot of early levels on top of a Wisdom Rune, and then you're cruising in the fights. And Matthew is just continuing to suffer down here. He has not had the laning phase that I think EG wanted him to have so far.
No, not at all.
And that mid gank is looking like a dream. A far, far away dream at this point.
Yeah. Not going to be able to get there before the Storm Spirit hits level 6. So Matthew's going to have to find other ways to have impact in this game.
This is your one window to try and abuse Noob here if you can get it. He's not 6 yet. You have the catapult wave for the Bat Rider. You don't have the level advantage because of C-Smile's death earlier. That's the part that sucks. And
yeah, Matthew is not getting there anytime soon. He's going to be heading back to the fountain, in fact, because getting off the healing ward should be fine here.
And Quest know what's happening on the map right now. They know the clock is off the lane top. Noob has played super defensive mid, and he's gonna hit 6 off of 1 XP.
Oh god, he needs one more creep, but he's not gonna be able to find it. He turns around, goes for the kill on the Panda. His only hope was to kill the Clockwork and then zip away. Doesn't get that and will die. Trades out kills with Panda, but ultimately will fall short of hitting that level 6.
I think Omar should have been a little more ready for that. Maybe they're laughing it off. They don't care. They did steal the rune away from the Bat Rider as he makes the rotation. And he's probably laughing because now he's taken all the mid XP with a DD.
Yeah.
Who's the real mid laner here? Nice little cheeky bounty rune deny with the creep. So at least Matthew's getting something done from the grave. Not what you would like in this game, though, as the early tempo for EG has not been there. They're going to have to make it up somewhere else. Probably with some beast pushes, or maybe just stacks for the Juggernaut and the Beastmaster. That is something you can fall back on here.
Don't forget about your Wisdom Runes. Uh-oh. I see a little Kiori Phoenix sneaking up the side here. We'll see if they can get back in time.
He just more wants to stack. It's just going to end up dying. That's more XP to the Phoenix.
He's going to dive in front of him, see if Kiori can body block him, get this Wisdom Rune in front of Whisper's face, and he does. They get both of Wisdom Runes, and there's no stun to stop him. He's going to TP out.
Literally out, as that Phoenix Sunray is better on the new map, because... Actually, is it better?
I think it doesn't bump you back as early.
Hey, I feel like you end up going deeper off the map than you used to.
Yeah.
So
it's because they put that extra high ground area. TA2000 slow down off the enchant. A big kill that EG really needs to get things going, but unfortunately Omar is there to be able to respond. He tosses Panda back into his allies and saves TA2000's life.
There's just not much going wrong for Quest right now. This isn't a crazy lead they built up. It just feels like they're getting a lot of the small victories, and especially the experience for their 2 playmakers plus the supports is what's going to shut down the push when it eventually comes for EG. Because it is going to come.
Level 6 on Rubik.
Yeah, that's huge. And now they can start to make some aggressive plays of their own. C-Smile's not had much help in this game outside of that 1 clock rotation.
And the levels on the supports will make the difference here. The higher damage coming out from both of them.
No
Omar
rune
now
lock,
gets
though.
level 6.
Noob needs to work on his rune capabilities here.
Yeah, sadly,
that is
another one taken away.
That's one of these skills that we always talk about, right? It's like, how many runes do you get? I think that's one of the reasons gaming have done so well this year, is because Quinn, he really practiced abusing the runes. For a long time. I think it's like Noob.
Was that something you experienced when you were playing with him? What did he do? Did he like will it to happen? Did he say like top to like kind of channel?
Oh no, he
the
just
rune to
has a script.
Oh, okay.
You gotta make sure those scripts are working. Not to call him out or anything. You know who used to complain about runes the most of any player I've ever heard in my life? I bet you can guess, actually. It is a mid player.
I mean, it was Quinn.
No, it wasn't Quinn, actually.
He was definitely one of them.
Quinn didn't complain about runes. He complained about other random stuff, like people spraying stuff over the creeps in mid so he can't see the HP bars or random stuff. Like, you know, the stuff, why is this in the game? That's a Quinn complaint.
Okay. Who complained about runes?
Sumail.
Yeah, I mean, he is a pure 1v1 player, right?
Exactly,
He finds power runes to be a slight on the integrity of the mid
Funny
lane.
story. Do you know who he complained about the most?
Quinn?
No, this has nothing to do with Quinn. Stop bringing Quinn up.
Who did he complain about most as in getting power runes?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who would have been?
Fada.
Fada.
I'll finish that story later. EG looking for some momentum in this game. Early Nets have done some work for TA2000 as well, giving them some extra lockdown. But that is a Vanguard Beastmaster. It's not the same boy you were picking on earlier.
You're not touching him unless you have another core. Now, you do have one rotating in. That's going to be Malik. He's going to go for the double support kill here.
Beautiful.
And he does light it up perfectly, nailing both of them with the onslaught and bringing both down. Kiori will actually be able to pick up the double kill. So these supports are flourishing on the side of Quest. My goodness.
It's all that early XP, man. Wisdom runes, some of the kills, the laning going a little bit better. It is just paying off in a huge way as they're accelerating the net worth, but the levels, like you said, is what's really winning the fights. And this is the issue for EG. The lead's not crazy. It's just you don't want to be in this position with heroes that need to push the towers to open up the map because of how Quest's lineup responds. It's just so easy for them to jump you, lock you down, bring the cores together, and they don't lose too much. Now you have an Arcane Rune Storm to put to work. This is just free mana.
Yeah, this Bat Rider's having a rough time right now. He's going to try and kill the Phoenix, but the Supernova's going to go off after the lasso, putting Panda and the Juggernaut, the stolen lasso from Omar, pulls him away from the successfully exploding Supernova. They will bring down 3 members of EG, more people teleporting in, but they cannot catch Quest.
What a sick play by Omar. That is just a game-winning play right there. You get so much. That's like a 3K swing off that lasso because I think Pakaz for sure kills that egg.
Yep.
Instead, Pakaz dies. You don't even get the Phoenix. Everybody lives from Quest. You get more TPs out of EG and the Beast going mid to try and salvage this fight. You do not want to be giving lasso away to this lineup, and those support levels, they are so far the MVP for sure. Egg is baiting you in. Omar is sealing your bait. And that's one of the few spells that can actually go through the spin here, too.
Yeah.
Because not happy about getting dragged into this fight as he's trying to get the Battle Fury. And now you're on a catch-up duty if you're EG. You're losing towers, you're losing fights, and you're not gaining any map space of your own.
EG crazy far behind now. 7,000 net worth lead for Quest at 12 minutes.
It exploded out of nowhere. It was kind of building up in a lot of little things. That just open up this game. Your Juggernaut he's almost 3K behind on this Naga Siren. And this can be a good matchup in the late game. You have to be able to get there. Normally, you'd also have some stacks or something here. Because you're getting sucked into these fights, you have some ancient stacks. Some of those went to the Beastmaster, though. Whisper has to stack for himself as he's trying to get to this Ags, which is what the Beast Pick's designed to do. Kind of help deal with the Naga Siren through the drum. Later that gets delayed. Also makes it a little bit harder to get back. So you're probably trying to push towards the Aghanim Scepters on the Beast and take a good fight off that if you're EG, which means more ancient priority going to Whisper here. So Pakaz, find what you can, son.
Yeah, I feel like everybody needs the recovery. But as you said, they probably have to play through that Beastmaster, so it leaves C-Smile and Pakaz without a way to recover.
And that means Noob is just getting a free-for-all. Like, he's getting every power rune here. Malik can push lanes aggressively along with TA2000, so you're going to have space, you're going to see heroes, you're going to have a lot of information to operate on. Witchblade already done, Haste Rune in his pocket. Noob is really strong right now. Look at how aggressively they're pushing. This is what you want to do when you're ahead. You take these tier 1s, get into the enemy jungle, get into their space. It limits their moves, limits their comeback, limits their vision. PG are running out of space right now. They're getting constricted, which likely means you got to smoke out. You're going to have to find something with this roar into some team fight. You're still missing some support levels, man. You don't have 6 on either one.
It is 13 minutes in. And they're stuck on this safe lane tower situation. C-Smile shows up immediately. Noob is going to pounce onto him, easily bringing him down. He played off map for quite a bit, let the supports take the mid tower. Just waiting and waiting. Eventually from EG, somebody was going to show themselves. And look at Malik. Is he actually going to get this kill? He might, just because he's able to get that final swing in. Whisper, meanwhile, who's trying to keep on the Ancient, is going to be shoved out of there by Quest. Now, Omar has a beautiful little spell to take for the next team fight, something Because is going to have to worry about once again.
I think Because is worrying about a lot of things right now. He's worrying about him from the grave. This map just absolutely collapsed for EG. Quest putting on a clinic right now, and they're trying to continue feasting on their bones. They will not get Whisper here unless he decides to throw himself back into the abyss.
Look at this. EG, all of their members, all in like some little tight corridor here.
I mean, they gave the Wisdom Rune to Because. That tells you everything you need to know. And Noob has invaded their areas, taken everything away from them. And the issue is the Bat Rider from mid is pretty kill tempo based. So when you fall behind, you get the spots.
That's a BKB Primal Beast, so you are not touching that. Malik wanted to be able to grab C-Smile, won't be able to. He's in fact going to be lassoed, pulled back in. I'm not sure if they actually want to do that to the Primal Beast. Malik is happy to keep fighting here, especially Noob, who's going to be jumping in, grabbing Whisper, pulling him back out. The Predator Roar, stalling up some of Quest, and will allow EG to disengage. But once again, EG, I mean, when was the last time they got a kill in this game? They've only got 3 of them.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Actually, I am curious. Yeah, I guess almost 10 minutes ago. Those are centuries.
It's rough.
So it has been 10 minutes. They just don't have the single target damage. That's why the early game had to go better, because the Enchantress and Clock, very strong laners. They have very good spells when they're ahead and can punish enemy supports on the map, push them out of areas. In these types of 5-on-5s, the Rubik and Phoenix are just way out damaging them here. And the impact that Omar has had in this game has been ridiculous with the Stolen Lasso and Roars. These are not spells you can afford to give away. Battle Fury is up for Because. He's going to start to pick up the pace here. You can stall this game out for a bit, maybe condense the lead slightly. You can get some good fight out of your Beastmaster Ags. This game can turn. Still have a decent mid-game group up with the Healing Ward, with the Beast Aura. Some good BKB piercing spells in the Roar and the Lasso that, as good as they've been for Omar, can be good for you. You just can't keep feeding kills to this Storm, man. He is on a mega kill streak now. And you know he's going to have every power, and that's the scary part. Like, every time Noob goes for these kills, he's just getting it refilled in the river.
Yeah, don't really need that gas station, that mana filler, if you've got free rune control all the time. Both power runes and bounty runes lightly, because it's not like EG can take that part of the dire jungle. Turn around, but immediately gets stunned up. He was hoping, he knew he was caught. He was just hoping to turn around, maybe get off an Omni Slash, buy a little time for himself, because Whisper was coming over, but now Whisper's dead, right alongside Because, and Panda's gonna join them in the same mass grave. 3 members of EG down, triple pickup for Noob. This is just a slaughter.
Yeah, do you just like call it soon?
Soon, yeah, I think you do.
It is one of those games you might call just to preserve your mentality at this point. It's just, I don't know what your options are. They are running out. I'll tell you what a very good sign in a game is. When you have your Wisdom Rune sitting there for like 6 minutes, because nobody wants to go to your side of the map to take it.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of the signs you are winning a Dota game.
Yeah, when you get to go back and it's like doubled up because
yeah, it's
you
just
haven't
sitting
been
there
there
waiting
in so long.
They don't even need it.
Well, Panda's breaking records, not the records he was hoping to break here in this game. Most deaths in 17 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, his legs have been broken.
A few times. I mean, it really hasn't, because if his legs were broken, he would be staying inside of the fountain. Maybe be better if he couldn't move at this point.
Well, he's clockwork. He gets the cyborg assist.
I see. Because in trouble once again, is going to find himself potentially chainsaw. No, gets off the Omni Slash with the lasso on the Storm, but the damage wasn't quite there. He lives with just 70 health. Malik, he's also trying to limp away here. Finally, maybe EG can get a kill. Oh no, I've spoken too soon. Malik is still slowed down. Flame break back. Nobody here to help him. Okay. They do manage to get it. Nobody from Quest could get there in time, it seems.
They're looking for more. They have a hook shot here. You've got to get something off this window. 40 seconds, no primal on the map.
I mean, even if you get it, there is a song available that you can reset off of.
You need to land. I mean, this is the defensive fight that EG can. I'm surprised that they didn't try and go for this before, like bait out Because and just be ready for that go, because it's been happening top for a long time.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a fight anywhere else in this game. However, you bait them in and land your stuns. You can burst down the Storm Spirit. It's not invincible yet, as Noob barely got out of there off the lasso Omni Slash. That'll be ult down for EG for a bit. However, they're going to come up pretty damn fast here. And we're already seeing the value of this Sunray in this game. It's a very powerful spell when you get it up on 4 points this early, especially with these tanky frontliners that Quest have. It has done work in the sustain department, and a heart second for TA2000, an even better target for this Sunray to just pump the heals into here. He's almost got 3,000 HP. Your Primal's got 2,500. These are some chonky boys.
Anybody want a Roche? At this point, Quest can kind of do whatever the hell they want.
Do you have this drum Ags up on the Beast? And you do have level 2 Omni Slash coming up. I think this is a window where if you're EG, you kind of have to take a bold smoke and try and find a big 4 kill into contesting some objective here, because you still have 3 tier 1 standing for Quest. You just need some space to stall this game out right now, and this is one of your power points to do it with. You gave so much Ancient priority to Whisper. He has to use that Ancient net worth in this Ags to pay it back in the fight. BKB up for C-Smile as well. It's a decent window to try and find something. There's not a lot of damage from Quest that goes through the BKB here. So in theory, that's also a lot of effective value. At least until this Naga starts to ramp up with Butterfly, Bloodthorn, Nullifier, this type of shenanigans. Of course, level 2 Egg, also pretty nice for Quest as they can protect it a bit. This looks very familiar.
That Omni Slash is gonna land because right in the middle of the Supernova. He doesn't feel like he can go for the egg because he's too low on health, and they managed to save it. Once again, the supports were committed, but they do not get the final blow to finish him off. And even Because, who gave an early retreat to this fight, is gonna be chased down by the rest of Quest.
There's just nowhere to go. And I asked the question, where's your Beastmaster, EG?
The hero you were supposed to play through.
He's not there. He has TP. He's walking to this fight. It's the same situation where Pakaz is trying to bait a fight into the tier 2 that can be some sort of good setup for EG, and they're just not all there. Maybe you can come back in this game, it has to be around those types of fights.
Yeah.
It's just not been there. Different priority on what they want to do in this game. Not an easy position to be in, but you have to be ready to capitalize on the mistakes if Quest are going to make them, and I don't even feel like EG are ready to do that. It's just been all miss for them this game. Nothing is hitting. Now you're down 20K. At least these Roshans are not dropping too fast. No BKB for C-Smile.
Noob may have, used a lot of mana there. He needs to chill out a bit, see if he can find himself an Arcane Rune with this 22-minute Power Rune spawn.
Malik has just been a wrecking ball this game.
Kills Matthew, and Panda, who hook shot away from the fight in the river, will be killed as well off of that one. Oh, Whisper showing up to this fight, half health. Noob will collect on that kill because he did indeed get an Arcane Rune at the 22-minute mark, so he's making grand use of that.
All right, he upped his rune skill here a bit.
All right, because is defeated by a Tormentor. Doesn't die, but you know.
The best of us.
It's under attack.
I mean, he's just trying to get anything for his team going. EG are going to bring everybody in here. Secure at least some objective in this game, as this is one of the lowest tier 1 tower damage games I've seen from EG in a long time. They rarely get shut out on the objectives like this, particularly when they have some heroes who can do it. It's heroes across the board, right? It's just not even been close to happening.
Kill the Tormentor, use a smoke, but not feeling comfortable with their target of choice. The Primal Beast was in their way.
Lincoln's already done for Noob. This is so damn fast. 23 minutes here on a Storm, when you have 2 other items as well.
So you can't kill the 2 tanky heroes because they've got Sunray, which is going to offset any damage you could do. And now the Storm Spirit, the one hero that you could maybe catch with a lasso or maybe a hook shot or something, as this big defensive item in Lincoln's.
I mean, big items that come out for Quest across the board. You can't really control the Storm anymore, and the Phoenix is controlling you as Kaori just rushed the Hex in this game, and he hasn't completed.
Yep, that's a classic Kaori move right here.
I mean, this is good itemization on the Phoenix when you have a game like this. I think it almost is always better to just go for the item you know is guaranteed good for the entire game rather than like some small drum or something, because they didn't need it.
Yeah, or Veil or something.
Absolutely secures it.
I feel like I can't remember the last time I saw Kaori go an item that wasn't sight on his Phoenix.
I think this is an okay itemization on the hero. I mean, you could maybe argue like Veil, drum, pipe. Theoretically, you hit a better window. You know, you're going to end the game before the Hex comes online. Still, it's just so damn fast here. I mean, what is the downside? Sure. Hex is never bad.
Lincoln's and now an Aegis for Noob. Look at that beautiful smiling face on the big screen. He is...
Nothing to complain about this game.
Yeah.
Even gets an illusion rune. That is a nice rune for this game. You disjoint some of the single target go attempts from EG, or you tank up an Omni Slash. That's all your damage gone. These Omni Slashes need to land for Makaz. They need to land big time.
Got the pick off on Panda. So they're trying to funnel back into the base. They're going to go inside of the base, go for Whisper as well, with Pulverize slamming down Whisper. They'll get that kill. They do manage to get a pickup. Yeah, Kiori, who had a godlike streak, does sign. The Omni Slash is doing some okay damage here. Malik, though, the one who's low, is going to be able to limp away, while TA2000, who's plenty healthy, with his army of illusions, marching down EG, and he wants to make sure there is nobody who can escape from this fight. A song to reset up to kill as many heroes as possible. They're gonna go Panda again. That's gonna be a dieback for him. C-Smile did manage to blink away though. They kill Malik off a long shot from Matthew with an Infus.
And it looks like something here on EG. About as good a start you get, I guess, taking out the Phoenix, removing him from the fight. Through that egg, taking the Hex out. Sustain damage.
C-Smile will not be able to get the kill on Omar, and Noob will save his Aegis. He's actually going to go back. TA2000 will do a solo high ground push for a little bit.
You're going to try and wear through him.
Oh my god, he's dying so fast.
Well, that is a Beastmaster that used to be there. That's butterfly timing.
GG, yeah.
This game has...
it's been over for a long time.
It really has. As we saw, Noob considering Midas on Storm just for the post-game item screen.
Yeah, Omar tried to get a final kill on the Juggernaut with a stolen Omni Slash.
Man, that was a beatdown. That is probably the largest beatdown I've seen in this tournament.
Yeah. And against two teams that we set up as being, you know, the potential teams for upsets on the biggest of stages. Quest, it seems, at least at the start of this series, have the advantage over EG, who I will admit, EG, maybe it's a little bit of an effect of volley, but they have not quite looked like the dominant selves. They still look like a top-tier team. I feel like they're in the top half of the teams here.
Sure.
But they're not, I don't feel like they're like, man, this is going to be a top 4 team.
I think the drafting isn't there yet. I think they are feeling a bit too limited. This is another game where they don't get Legion and they just lose. Their current record at the tournament is 100% win rate with Legion, 0% win rate without it. That tells me there's something weird about the drafting, that they're not feeling flexible enough, or their read on it isn't good enough that they can adapt to what the enemy's doing. Because here we see some pretty cool second phase by Quest with this Phoenix Naga that puts a lot of pressure on EG, and the response just, it wasn't all there. I also go back to the comeback fights that normally we see this team sometimes be able to make. They did not align at all.
All right, well, a lot of things to think about for EG, and I'm sure our panel has been thinking about the conundrum, what EG does against Quest going into this game too.
Thank you very much, Cap and SVG. We're going to break this game down. Quest, they just crushed Evil Geniuses here in this first game of this 2-game series. I'm joined by Faith Beyond, Effie, and Purge. Purge, where did this game go so wrong for EG?
I mean, we're 10 minutes into this game here, and they have a 4K gold lead. So it was the first 10 minutes that it got out of hand. This moment was probably the most impactful as well. This was a little skirmish chance for them to get back in the game. And then the rest of the game was them just getting kill after kill after kill with no chance of response.
I think Quest played so well in this game. I mean, honestly, I expected better out of EG, because when you think about this team, one of their strengths is laning phase. But, I mean, maybe it was an outdraft after all. To me, it didn't really look like it, but the way it played out, they're either very sleepy, Quest are way too good, or It was just a bad draft.
Or all of the above.
Or all of the above. But, I mean, I think Kaori on his Phoenix played so well in that bot lane. He was an absolute beast. He got that level 6 so early. He was getting kill after kill. He handled the Enchantress and allowed Naga to free farm. Almar on the Rubik also had so much impact in the top lane. Once Batrider started to dive behind the tier 1 tower mid in the early stage, he just TPs in, gets a kill with a Storm Spirit. And if you're playing in Storm and you have no stuns and you don't lose the laning phase, and you lose the laning phase and you don't have tempo to play on with your Beastmaster Ench, the game's just over.
FaZe, what was the highlight of the game for you?
Highlight, I think it's 10 minutes, that's mid-fight. But I think, for me, I think this game lost because of drafts. Honestly, at that 24 pick, I don't know what hero to pick for Pakdas. You have to deal with Naga late game, and you have to can play team fight, and you have to lane with Primal Beast. It's just so hard to pick, and I think that Storm Spirit just kill their heroes. Storm Spirit is too good at lane and too good at rotate.
But were there any heroes still left in the pool for Pakaz? I mean, obviously he ended up with the Juggernaut. Was there anything else that could fix the puzzle?
It's really, really hard. I sit there and I think for a long time is no good answer. Maybe Draw Ranger, but it's still not look good.
It's too difficult. I think we mentioned earlier that Evil Geniuses has had success with Legion Commander and Darkseer in particular, and we did see Quest identifying that very well, putting the Legion Commander in the bin in the first round of bans, and it was EG that actually removed out the Darkseer. Now, when we think about this game, we have to go for the STC play. You heard it already mentioned a couple times, you've seen it in the highlights. This was I mean, it's 10 minutes in, Effie, but it already felt like the nail in the coffin.
I mean, even before this fight, it looked pretty abysmal for them, but in moments like this, you think, okay, we can win this team fight mid, they have a gold lead, we're gonna get so much comeback gold, and the egg is so close to dying, it's just one hit away, but EG just can't pull it off, and after this, it felt like almost impossible to turn the game around. No matter what you did, no matter how you tried to split the map up, no matter what pick off you may or may not have gotten, it was way too hard after this.
I mean, it's just a perfect fight for them. They had Arcane Rune on Storm there. He pulled twice with his Electric Vortex in that fight, and they had the perfect spell to guarantee that the Jug, who was like, oh, Phoenix fight, there's going to be an egg here, guaranteed kill, he gets the lasso, which stuns him through the BKB. It was so perfect for them.
It was perfect. I love seeing Omar on the Rubik, who indeed got the steals at the right time, that being the most important one with the lasso and the Jug. It seems very simple to be able to say, oh, you know what, that was just not our draft, Effie. It's just, you know, you can do better in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe there was a draft issue, as FaZe mentioned, in terms of the last pick, but I don't feel like their lanes were weak. Like, the way that they lost their lanes was pretty wild to me. I feel like they could have done better because, yeah, like, Quest's heroes were very strong in lane, as they showed us, but EG's heroes had a means to fight back. It just felt like they were feeding at some points, or they didn't play well, or maybe they should have laned the Clockwork versus the Phoenix and the Ench versus the Primal, but even then, it might have not been enough.
Sometimes there's two teams going up against each other that, you know, have a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors situation where one team is going to be very strong early game, Quest in this case, and maybe Evil Geniuses would have been better in the later stages of the game. But their draft purge didn't really reflect them being able to make any sort of comeback. So with that in mind, like, do you feel like they need to focus more on having a more well-rounded draft that can withstand the strong laning stage of Quest?
I mean, if they did defeat the lanes, then they could have fought better. The problem was that Clockwork got 6 late. That would have been one of their initiators to start fights. Batrider really solid at rotating to side lanes and getting kills there, but the ganks were always like coming from Quest towards EG, and EG was behind in levels, so it was just so hard to stabilize it. It really was, I feel like, that mid-fight. That was where Pakaz was supposed to get a Phoenix kill. And then the egg doesn't blow up and maybe they lose one less person. Like, it actually just kind of like, that was the final nail in the coffin there.
Batrider was also diving tier 1s versus Storm in a losing situation where Rubik can TP in, so I think some little mistakes were made here and there, and it made me kind of reflect a little bit on this Batrider. I think that this hero can be strong in the mid lane, but it's not what it used to be, and it can't play that kind of aggression on lane without being punished. I think that potentially they should have just left it as a support. Like, I think picking this Clockwork could have been an overreaction to the Primal because Bat plus Ench supports I feel are enough to deal with Primal on the side lanes. So by picking this Clock, they forced the Bat Rider into the mid lane, they lose their flex, and they tripled down on beating the Primal flex, which Quest abused to the very end by picking Storm Spirit. So just well done by Quest.
Well done by Quest, indeed. And it's not just Quest that's having a good day. Let's take a look at what's happening on all the other streams. Because game 1 in the books for us. Oh, would you look at that? We're actually, oh my god.
This hasn't happened
This
yet.
has never happened in the history of Riyadh Masters. We're actually the first one. The first one's out. That makes me wonder what the vibes are like in the player lines. I don't think Jenkins is going to be able to find anybody right now. What's he up to?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm far away and will begin walking dramatically towards the camera now as I give you an update on what's going on the various other streams here at the Riyadh Masters. In this corner, we have the D stream. I don't know why they keep putting OG on the D stream. D for disrespectful, I suppose. Very close game between them and Team Spirit. Crazy team fight going on. It looks like Spirit's a little bit in the lead. Lycan doing very well in this tournament. Of course, Spirit has that hero. And then we have LGD versus 9 Pandas on the C stream. I won't distract them. They're actually high grounding right now for LGD. Shiro Terrorblade. Very good stuff going on there. All the Terrorblade fans in chat can watch that one. That's no one. And on the B stream, we have Gaming Gladiators. Gaming Gladiators, how is your team doing in this match right now?
Absolutely bossing them up. We got the big fat 11k gold lead. Absolutely getting the milk out. You know what that means? It's Shreddy's time. Absolutely bossing them up. Clean up crew on stream B.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Gaming Gladiator CEO, how's your team doing?
Oh, you know how it is, bud. We're farming. You know, we got the Timmies, we got the milk out. Everything's fine there, pal.
That's right. Very international team coming in here. Good stuff going on all of the streams. And back to you, Sheever. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jenkins, as we'll get more updates from him.
What a great smile.
A great smile, and sure that there are some great games going on. There will be more great games going on here soon too, but not for now because we're going to take a quick break. But when we're back, it is time for Quest Esports and EG Round 2.
When talking about the history of Matthew, it's easier to list the South American teams he hasn't been on than the teams he has. Starting his pro career at only 16 years old and having played on essentially every well-known and lesser-known team in South America, Matthew is an absolute fountain of knowledge and experience. Despite having played on so many teams, his placements in tournaments were not up to his wishes. Sure, he went on to majors and the international with Infamous, but they never quite managed to get the results that he wanted. A massive turning point in his career was joining Thunder Awaken for the second time in 2021, along with current teammates Bakaz and Panda. This roster achieved better and more consistent results than any South American team before them. 5th place in Stockholm Major, let's ignore the Arlington Major, 5th place at ESL 1 Malaysia, and a massive 5th place finish at the International 2022. Impressed with their performance, Evil Genius said bye-bye to their North American roster and hola to their new South American roster with Matthew in the captaincy. Together, they've achieved even better results, including a 4th place finish at the Berlin Major. Side note, Matthew is the undisputed record holder for the most courier kills in a game, with an absolutely disgusting 22 kills in one single map. If Matthew is in the game, you know the couriers are quaking in their little boots. Alright, now that we've got the massacre of innocent couriers out of the way, EG is playing a large part in making South American one of the strongest regions in Dota, and Matthew is the brain behind the calculated chaos that is Evil Geniuses. Vamos!
Vamos.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for more Dota 2 as we have Quest going head-to-head against Evil Geniuses, the second game of this series. Now, Quest was incredibly dominant in the first game, but that's okay. EG, I'm sure they know how to react, how to come back. But if they don't, I got their coach with me right now. At least their impromptu coach, Faith Pian. Imagine you are the coach of Evil Geniuses. What do you do? Where do you go? Wait a second, is that a draft? They know that's previous game's draft. Yes. That's fine, we're good. So, sorry, a distraction for real quick, but you're the coach of EG, what do you do?
Okay, boys. I fucked up game 1 draft. It's okay. Let's go for game 2 right now. Whisper, I'm going to pick Darkseer for you. And Sismile, forget about this stupid hero, Bad Rider. I'm going to pick TA for you. Let's go win this game.
Wow.
Very inspiring. I think the positive energy definitely needed after a loss that they just had. Of course, Quest will be looking for some more dominance in game number 2. They're going to try to anticipate what's happening. I think they'll probably stick with their Legion Commander ban. That worked out very well for them.
Wow, it did. The only hero they've won with so far.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 teams like this. I think Shopify Rebellion had a similar thing going on.
Yeah, they did.
And I think EG are better than just an LC team. Like, this team is capable of so much. They're pretty disappointing in how they played in Game 1, so I really hope they do bring it back. The key hero that they should focus in their draft is just take out that Primal Beast for Quest. Every team that plays against Quest will take out the Primal Beast because that flex is too difficult to deal with, and they play it so well. So that is the change that I would like to see. Or if you're letting in the Primal Beast, pick it core-to-core counter.
Yeah, and flex-wise, part of the reason Legion's been working so well for EG is they've flexed it hard too. Pakaza's even played it. They've been playing at 1, 2, and 3 position. And like Miro pointed out, pick in the Clockwork last game, remove their Bat Rider flex. So gotta keep the flex available towards the end of the draft to give you an upper hand.
Normally when there's a team that has like a must-ban hero at the start, it gives the team a little bit of an edge because generally it means that more strong heroes are making it through. Faithbeyond, why is that not the case in the current meta? Why can't a Legion Commander just be banned and EG does not have any extra advantage from having one of their main heroes banned?
I feel it's very weird because EG, I think they have more strategy out of LC, but it seems they don't want to show it off. Maybe they want to save it for playoff stage.
They're gonna make it out. Actually, they're doing quite well. I was gonna say they're gonna make it to playoff stage first, but of course both of these teams are doing quite well. I mean, we're talking like EG is in a bad spot right now. That's not the case. They are, with the loss that they just suffered, they are 5-4 in the group stages of Riyadh Masters, and of course top 4 make it to upper bracket, so they're not doing bad at all. So potentially, yeah, saving strats for playoffs. Okay, Faithman, is that actually a thing? Like, do teams do that a lot? Saving strats?
Actually, no, because sometimes you will keep saving. Okay, we keep saving. Oh, we don't get in playoff.
That is a risk.
Yeah, but they are doing good right now, so maybe they can. They are already in the top of group stage.
For now, we'll see if that's still the case after this one. It's pretty tight. Group A is so split, as we should have the draft of game number 2 on our screens momentarily.
I saw a ban.
We did see a ban.
It's Primal Beast and Snapfire for EG.
Good job.
Wow.
I think Gaming Gladiators, when they played against Quest, they took out the Snapfire, the Primal Beast in both games. Some teams have tried to not ban it, and then when they let it through, they lose to it, so they end up banning it in the next game, and EG kind of fell into the same formula.
Ooh. Oh. We got some picks on the board already. Wow, Naga, Siren, Phoenix. It's very interesting to see them picked up as the first 2 for Quest. They saved this one for the second phase picks previously, but moving up in priority here.
So EG has to pick a Naga counter here, right?
Yes.
Or a Phoenix counter.
I really don't like Naga picking first phase. I think Quest already lost this.
Oh, wow.
Call GG.
And I think the Naga pick looks really good in first phase if you see your offlane matchup. If you see the offlane matchup, or if you see a hero that you're good against core to core, you can justify the Naga. So this will happen often. The Naga comes out if she sees Beastmaster, or if she sees Enigma, or if she sees Broodmother, right? But that's not the case here.
I mean, last game, because they already saw 3 heroes, so they picked this combo, it's very strong. But in this game, you just saw Rubik. Yeah, I think they take this too serious.
Yeah, I think this Darkseer is probably one of Whisper's best heroes, like you mentioned before, Faithian. But also it's good against Naga, right? You have your wall to take illusions over. You have your normal punch later on to also create another illusion of Naga. You have team fight, which EG lacked last game. So you have a means back into the game if your lanes go as disastrously as they did in game 1. And also Ion Shell versus her on lane can be very annoying.
She actually doesn't, Darkseer doesn't show up as the top 10 best heroes against Naga, surprisingly. It's like Underlord, Sand King, Beastmaster. So there's some downsides, but overall for like EG's draft and what they're comfortable with, I think it's obviously the best pick.
I mean, Whisper is really a great Darkseer player, and this is the first time they play Darkseer in this tournament. I think finally they can give us some new strategy.
I also like that EG had first pick and they took the Rubik, because Rubik is Quest's go-to first pick hero for Omar. He's so high impact on it, and he was last game. Also, when you secure this Rubik for yourself, you can all of a sudden play these team fighting heroes like Beastmaster or Darkseer or Batrider, what have you. These big ultis are not so scary anymore. So EG's adjustment so far has been very good.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So Shadow Demon Mars bound. These are just popular heroes. Mars is a great hero versus Phoenix right now. I mean, with Phoenix right now, and it was open for them last game. The Shadow Demon also would have been great because he just creates illusions of Naga and they get even more map control. And of course, he can purge off Darkseer's buffs like the Iron Shell and Surge.
Yeah, and Mars is so good at catching Darkseer as well, so it kind of covers all the bases for what they might want. Lion as well, a support that was trending a lot towards the start of the tournament. I haven't seen it too many times on Stream A as recently, but obviously still very good. Would give them some much needed catch that they don't have with the Phoenix and the Naga.
Yeah. We saw 9 Pandas yesterday take an approach to Darkseer, which is pick Oracle for solo twice, and they would put Oracle on Darkseer's lane, and that was a way to deal with it. So that could still be an option for EG. Another thing is just go back to your Enchantress. You've been really good with it. You can just pick it for yourselves.
That's Omar's second most played hero so far. It's Mirana. 3 picks and they've won every single game, so it's been great.
Do you feel like it needs a pairing? In the past, in the previous patch especially, we saw the Mirana Ember Spirit counter a lot. There is still space for Spirit in the draft if Quest wants to go for it, but does the Mirana, and specifically maybe does Omar's Mirana, needs a setup?
And you have the Ensnare setup, which is already good enough, I feel. So you have more options available to you on your offlane. But you know, you can never have too many setups for Arrow. It doesn't hurt at all.
I like the ET here, honestly. It's still a little bit underpicked. It's been picked 28 times, but it's got a 67% win rate. It's doing great, not very banned in this tournament. It's going to amplify all the damage that Darkseer and Rubik brings out, which is going to be a lot. Those illusions are going to melt really fast.
It's also a great lane with Darkseer, right? You have an Iron Shelled ET, right-clicking this Naga. It's going to be really easy to kill her early on if you bring your mid hero in.
The only thing I worry about ET is he kind of countered by Phoenix on it, and I'm worried about he have no strong stun to combo with Darkseer at early stage. Actually, I wish EG can pick some like Clockwork or Nyx, even Nyx, something you can just go for, go diving in tower and destroy Naga's game. I wish ET can play well with Darkseer.
So how would you fix the issue that EG has right now? What kind of hero can you pick for C-Smile from mid? Oh, I think this...
Yeah, this is a good play.
Is it enough for you?
Yeah, I think right now their early stage looks very strong. And if they can like bring Pango to top to play with Darkseer, then ET's problem got solved. And also ET can give you a very solid team fight, a good counter initiation, and a very strong late game. In this way, I think EG does fix this problem very well.
Yeah, and they have the scaling of Pango versus Naga, like his swashbuckle is going to be valuable versus this hero at all stages of the game. But because of this Pangolier, the noob specialty mid-tiny comes out, and he's just waiting for any opportunity to find a melee hero on his lane to pick Tiny, and he gets it. But I still like Pangolier in this game, regardless.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how it works, I guess. Being able to toss back and add a little bit more disable is pretty nice against Pango. If they want to grab kills, it's set up for Mirana. Like, it's pretty good. But some teams like it, but I don't know if it has the highest win rate.
Previous draft, when we were talking about the Naga Siren, one of you guys said that Sven would be an option, but that game it wasn't an option because Primal Beast was his counter. This time around, is there a chance for Prakasa Sven, which would also solve their potential lack of disable issue?
There's good things, but they still don't have an egg hitter either, so I'd almost wonder if they're more concerned about that.
Okay.
I like TV now, even though you're playing against Naga, because TV is one of Core Tiny's hardest matchups.
Yeah.
And even though Naga, historically, yeah, she can disengage from Metamorphosis, it's still a really good hero because it can play with its team, and you have the Darkseer on your side to buff you.
I think in EG right now they have so many options because the lineup right now is already very good for them. They can just pick a hero good against Naga at the late game, then it's fine. I think maybe Alchemist or Draw Ranger or TB, they are also good picks, all good picks.
Alchemist also sounds pretty cool, I guess. That's another hero to take advantage of Iron Claw.
Oh, I think this is better maybe because you can also deal with egg.
Yeah, definitely an egg hitter.
Also, you can save a guy. That's a cool part. If someone is getting arrow comboed, infest them and jump out. You can also tank the arrow.
You can also fight Naga Siren through her song, which is something that Juggernaut also provides, but Lifestealer is more consistent here when it does this. But now you have 4 melee heroes, so I wonder if Quest chooses to exploit that. No, I mean, Beastmaster is great versus melee heroes now because instead of going for the Dom build, you just go for his Aghanims and you just bang those drums and you will always have impact in these fights.
Drums of Slum.
Feast is going to be really good this game, though. Like, those are going to be some tanky melee heroes. I mean, Iron Shell your whole team and be like, okay, guys, go kill him.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you also have this Phoenix like buffing up his Beastmaster with the Sunray, who's already going to be healing through it. So
that's true.
I think both teams have very cool drafts. Like it looks very balanced. It looks like both teams have very strong win conditions in Quest's Naga and also in EG's Lifestealer. It's a good game for him.
So it's a way more even game than previous.
Yeah, I think only problem for EG is this Beastmaster maybe is too comfortable on lane, but I think a part of that is good for EG, and I really hope EG can win this game. I don't want some team can pick Naga at first phase and win the game.
Yeah.
They've got way better gank setups on the Quest Esports side. I mean, they've got Mirana Arrow, tiny combos. We've got Naga to set stuff up, Phoenix as well. So they could roar into Arrow. Like, they've got a lot better ways to get kills. So it might be a little easier for Quest to catch up if they're behind or to dominate if they're ahead.
And again, EG's heroes suit their lineup well. But if they play like they did in Game 1, they're going to lose, right?
Okay.
So if they've woken up between Game 1 and Game 2, I am slightly more inclined for EG's draft. Again, all that for them.
Okay, and then for Quest, Fizbian, you said if Malik on his Beastmaster has a good game, then Evil Geniuses should worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to watch the off. I mean, it's a surprise. You're going to watch the off lane during the game. I bet you're very happy to see Whisper on his Darkseer as well.
Yes. He really, I think, one of the best Darkseer player in the world. Yeah.
All right, well, we're in for it. I hope that the game is going to live up to all of our expectations. If that sound is the one that I recognize, it means that we are moments away from getting Game 2 here of Quest versus Evil Geniuses on your screens. So without further ado, let's watch some Dota 2 with Quest and Evil Geniuses.
And hopefully that series, this game, will be a little bit better than the first one, because
you weren't a fan?
It wasn't the best. No, I mean it was best if you're a Quest fan.
I enjoyed that game. I think every now and then you need a good slap, wake you up. You know, it's been too many long games at this tournament. Need some good old 20-minute get the hell out of my lobby.
Yeah, they didn't even need Roshan. They just kind of like kept beating down EG until they eventually just
Yeah, they did one Rosh in that game. They put the Aegis on Storm and he never even used it.
Yeah.
That was quite a fast game. EG had 0 tower damage, I think, that entire game as well. I don't know if I've ever seen that for this squad, which tends to be one of the higher killer squads, one of the more aggressive ones, and one of those squads that likes to take those objectives early, particularly if Whisper is dominating his lane.
Yes, exactly. You always get building damage out of Whisper.
Right. So the fact that that just never happened for EG with a Beastmaster of all things is absolutely terrifying. We'll see if they can rebound in game 2 with a draft that is a lot more comfortable for them and not as dependent on the early waves going well. I think there's a lot more team fight in this lineup, a lot more scale, a lot more inter-hero synergy, and those are the types of things that they tend to like to play for here, as well as splitting the runes, no first blood so far, so completely even start. And hopefully Matthew also can get a bit more done, because I still think of him as a linchpin for this EG lineup. I mean, he's their shot caller, their captain. More importantly, I feel like if his game is flowing well, then EG's game is flowing well. And that game 1, man, did Matthew get shut down on lane by Kiori on that Phoenix. That Ench matchup did not go well at all. So Matthew's going to try and strike back here with maybe a hero that he's more comfortable and confident on, maybe skewing this lane matchup a bit more, as well as already forcing the one-on-one for Whisper. Whisper is going to be happy with this. Anytime you get solo XP as a Darkseer and you're not getting your regen burned, which he hasn't had to buy any, pretty much the dream.
Can we talk about Lifestealer?
Oh, is that what you were waiting to ask?
Yeah. Why'd they pick this hero? Because it's like a very middle-of-the-road hero against Naga Siren, right? And while I think Darkseer is a pretty decent offlaner against Naga Siren, I think there are better ones out there. At least the stats say there are better ones. So
they were also banned, though. The Legion, the Timber, and got banned. Those are the 2 bigger ones. I don't think they wanted to take Underlord.
Okay.
Didn't have the same threat into here. I think Darkseer is also a very good hero for EG, one they're very comfortable with, and one that has been.
Oh, look at this little surprise Matthew set up for Kiori. He's like, all right, you're going to play in this side lane area all the time. We're going to 2v1 you and try and get first blood. It may not work, though.
They have Vacuum. He's pretty much dead for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he would get to the Ancients, but no, he cannot get there. So it is going to be a first blood for Whisper. A lot of time outside of lane, but probably worth it solely for that first blood gold.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so much extra net worth going into this Darkseer early on that he's going to be able to translate into regen, which means staying on the lane, getting full XP. You are not shutting Whisper down in this game, so EG already in a way better position than they were game 1. You wanted to talk about Lifestealer. I mean, you know I'm a Lifestealer hater. I have always hated on this hero. This is one of those games where I actually like to pick.
Why? They have a lot of the abilities to go through his rage or catch him before he can rage.
I think the fact he has Darkseer to help Surge shell him up, get in the fight, and then he has really big team fighters behind him in the ET and the Rubik that can cause some displacement, some chaos. Maybe you turn a Roar around, maybe you turn an Avalanche around. He gets in there, he maybe saves Pango, buffs up, is really annoying. He can get fast damage items versus Naga. I think it's going to be pretty annoying for Quest to deal with. It's also a hero that had to pick blind versus a last pick offlaner, so you have to consider that. Lifestealer can limit that hero pool. So there could have been offlaners that EG were worried about that Lifestealer shuts down that kind of prevented Quest from being able to pick those. You also have a Mirana here, so you knew Quest wanted some stunners in their last 2 cores. Generally, Lifestealer is good against those lineups as long as he's not the one getting initiated on. I don't know, I kind of like the pick. I think it has some decent stuff going for it. I think the heroes look okay this tournament, particularly in the Darkseer lineups. He's looking pretty solid because the other big go-to with these Darkseer lineups in terms of carry is like Chaos Knight and Sven. And both of those heroes have been incredibly underwhelming. Chaos Knight just fell off completely after the lifesteal change. And then Sven is, I don't even want to talk about that hero right now. I think he is basically the worst performing hero of the tournament. Like, literally.
Give me some stats.
You want the Sven stats?
Yeah, I want the Sven stats. Hit me with them.
Sven is currently 1-9.
Okay.
His KDA is currently sitting at a approximate 1.5. So if you're a carry hero and your KDA is 1.5 over 10 games, that means that you are basically killing your own team. That's what it tells me. You're killing creeps and doing absolutely nothing with them.
Vacuum back in, last second
grenade.
blood grenade from Matthew will secure that kill. Matthew, I think he's gonna be okay. His TA-2000 is not quite fast enough to chase up to him. So this laning phase is already going much better, but specifically the off lane of the matchup, Matthew versus Kiori. Looks like maybe Matthew and Whisper had a little bit of talk about how they want to deal with this guy, because he's playing the same hero, he's gonna have the same play style. They are successfully countering it this time.
Sometimes the problem with running these things back, I mean, Quest were very confident in this Naga Phoenix opener. I think that combination was stronger in the second phase for them because they had the Rubik and the Primal to back it up. And then you get slightly worse heroes. I mean, not by a large degree, but I think the Mirana Tiny have not been as impactful as the Rubik Primal were, especially with the Primal being flexible into that last pick. So I think the order in which Quest got these heroes did a lot more for them than just jamming it into the first phase here. However, the heroes are still very strong, so it says something about how confident they are on the strategy, and they'll strike back. Matthew eventually falls.
I think, though, this is kind of fine. You've traded Kiori out so many times that, you know, dying once on Matthew for the 3 different deaths, I think, at this point for Kiori, that's got to be feeling pretty good. Get a little bit of reset here. As long as Whisper doesn't die to the rotation, ensnare arrow. Did not expect Omar to be making a rotation this early into the game.
That's super worth it. Continuing to put this early ensnare point to use to enable his supports. Yeah, the Phoenix is not going to have the level start yet. Last time, as long as you don't get both Wisdom Runes here.
And look at Bakaz going to work on these boars.
Yes, this is what Lifesteal can give you versus these blind melee matchups.
This is looking really rough. Malik is just going to die because the supports are rotating to mid, trying to get the power runes. Malik is left alone and will die with Creep Wave underneath his tower. This is the worst.
And that kill mid was maybe the bigger one. They found Nuke before level 6 on this Tiny before he gets all that armor. That's a huge kill. He was getting the refill as well.
Oh, that's crazy that you lost him on the bottle pass.
Yeah, that is exactly where Matthew wants to be in this game. He's already done more in the first 6 minutes in this game than he did in the entirety of the last game on that Enchantress.
For sure.
And this is the type of pace that EG want to play. They want their 4 position controlling where the supports are going, where those skirmishes are happening. This is going to free up C-Smile to go bottom now with a Rolling Thunder and try and kill this Beastmaster who TP'd back to lane and is on cooldown for 60 seconds. Malik, I hope you've practiced your recovery skills because you're going to need them this game. No free farm for you.
Is this going to be a one-sided stomp the other direction? Kiori, once again, is going for the Wisdom Rune, but they're doing the same on the other side of the map. I think this might be EG getting 2.
They should. They have the stun advantage. Yeah, Kiori can't even fight for this one.
Omar does manage to get it, but he will die shortly after, so it's still to the favor of EG, clearly.
You got to do that if you're Omar, because that's not just a Wisdom Rune, it's a refill for C-Smile. That would have just been way too efficient for the Pangolier. Still a lot of levels going into these EG supports that they were lacking last time around, and more importantly, denying some of it away from a Phoenix Mirana support duo that Quest really need the levels here.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Their damage to throw behind these 2 stunners and the Beast and the Tiny when they go in the fight. Not going to happen this time around.
We saw that the impact in that game 1, when you get Phoenix like very early, level 5, is like a huge power spike for that hero. Fire Spirits does crazy amounts of damage.
No mana here on C-Smile. It's just not a kill attempt that's going to work, and the arrow hitting a creep. Omar could not find the angle. By the way, that tower just died bottom off of that double kill. Really nice play by C-Smile to get the read. Hey, we killed him once, he's gonna come back, just kill him again. Quest don't want to play down here. All of a sudden your tower's gone, your beast is level 4, and all those ancients that he wanted to stack and get through just goes out the window because the Lifestealer can play super aggressive. There's no early threat on Bakaz in this game.
Well, Noob is calling in a favor here. He may have had a rough time getting those early power runes in game 1, but now he's on the losing side of things, and he is getting a couple of them here. Haste Rune, very important one for a Tiny. He can finally make some moves in the struggling side lanes. We'll see where he chooses to go with that. Speaking of Matthew's impact, I actually wanted to bring him up because we know Rubik is like his go-to hero. It's his most played hero, hugely impactful. And I was curious like what his numbers were on Enchantress. He's only played Enchantress 7 times in his career in professional matches. And he, well, after that game, has a sub 50% win rate. So you could just see comfort level definitely does matter in some of these matchups. Oh, that's a big kill. C-Smile giving up something that frankly, kind of shouldn't have. That was way too easy
surprised
for
they
Quest.
Got him. I mean, he has 1 in Raindrop plus Fluffy Hat built into the orb here. That's a lot of magical burst this early on. Didn't even have to pop the haste rune for Noob. That's what the Tiny Pick's designed to give you here. Just insane burst. That's a big comeback kill. A lot of XP going into Omar that he needed here. Also a move from EG that was poking top and just yielded nothing, even had to deny their own obs. So vision advantage skewed back towards Quest here, and now they get to use that rune to potentially pick up Whisper.
Big kill. If they could get this one, it would be very close to Blink Dagger. Form toss up in the air. Beautiful. That was really nice. Omar had to throw that arrow early.
Yeah, that was on point.
So the fact that they managed to couple that together was really nice. Now, Malik does die again in the bottom lane because does not have Infest, but he does have C-Smile to try and help get him out of this situation. He will not be able to, and now C-Smile, who committed his life to try and help out Bakaz, will die alongside. Malik will gladly tip Bakaz, knowing that they have overly focused on the Beastmaster and now been punished for it.
Quest gets so much out of that for the supports and for Noob. The last minute here, he basically kills 4 heroes on the map and C-Smile twice, right? He got a mid, and then he gets him on the overextension bottom. So much gold into the Tiny's pocket after he was having a rough early laning stage. Getting Bakaz off the map, too, it's going to free up space for the Beastmaster. This is pretty much exactly what Quest want. Turn the aggression of EG back against them. And now you have Egg up. Now you have your Ronald as well. If you wanted to skill it, though, Omar will just take the extra nukes. He's going to continue to play through the Tiny here.
Is under attack.
Tiny may not be having the best time at this tournament, but I do remember Noob's Tiny, like we didn't see much of it at Bali, and then Noob picked it up as a mid laner, and he really popped off in those games where he got it.
It's a comfort pick for him. Absolutely. I think there's other mid initiators they could have picked in that role. It's just Tiny is his go-to, and for good reason. He is going to pop off on it. It's also one of those heroes that works really well with the Mirana. So if Omar is comfortable in this, which so far they have been very comfortable, it's just a nice little duo that they pick up. I think it's one of the things that this team excels at. They get these little combinations they're very comfortable with. They make sure the synergy between the mid and the 2 supports is always top tier in terms of damage output throughout the course of the game. And that means you always have play options available, whether you're ahead or you're behind here. This is a game that could have spiraled like last game, right? If EG made a couple of more clean moves, they didn't give up those Pango deaths, suddenly you're looking at a 5 or 6k gold lead. Yep. Instead, because your heroes have these small synergies and the extra spell damage, Quest makes some good comeback moves, and this game is exactly even again. No spiral for you, no stomp for you. Gonna have to beat us on our terms, which means trying to find the item timings for Bakaz here. Mjolnir Rush is gonna be the answer for the Naga. Double damage will go Noob's way.
Jumping into Noob, but he's got the supports to back him up, so they'll get that kill despite Noob taking away the power rune. Omar is actually going to try and sneak a kill, but the shield crash, that buff was still up on C-Smile and helps protect him alongside the raindrop, so the burst wasn't enough.
I think that's an okay play by Noob. I think his supports need to be with him. I don't know where exactly Omar and Kaori were. That maybe they're just farming on the map, getting stacks. If they're not there, okay, maybe Noob can't go for that play, but that's a blink reveal Tiny who wants the double damage there, right? If there's an arrow Starfall follow-up, you might just kill the Pango again, and then you're busting this game wide open. A little bit of a misstep on this rune control. EG will take advantage of it. C-Smile gets some revenge. His time to shine with the supports behind him has come. And level 4 Avalanche for Matthew. This is probably the best spell he can get in this game for a long time outside of, you steal some ults in the fights. That's why they're smoking up here, looking for anything.
Yeah, and they could start setting up for Wisdom Rune in 1 minute if they want to try and steal away Quest. Play for a team fight over there.
I mean, this is still double damage. Noob still got the TD rune, so instant smoke up by Quest and straight back on to C-Smile. He's gone again.
Got him again. The Avalanche is going to come too late, and Panda, who is looping around the side here, trying to get aggressive vision down. He'll not be punished for his position. Man, Malik rushed a pipe, by the way.
Yes, very interesting. He did not go the Ags, which was scaled more in this game. He's just going the utility, trying to buff up his other 2 cores. I guess they believe in the Naga and the Tiny scale this game in terms of being able to deliver the damage. Maybe Phoenix having as good a game as Kaori has had. Man, he has just been farming top. EG have not been able to kick him out, and he has extracted a lot of levels and gold off this top lane on the Phoenix. I feel like EG need to be decisive right now. They need to choose where they want to strike. particularly with the Pangolier, you have this Diffusal finish, you can shell him, you can surge him. If you combine these cores, your team fight's strong. It's just weird you want to use it. You're getting dragged around in these weird areas. Egg for the Wisdom Rune up here. I don't think it's gonna live.
No, it's not. So EG, a small little pickoff like that, and a Supernova on cooldown does mean they have the advantage if they want to push it. Maybe they could try and take something like this mid tower.
He did get that rune. So the levels for Quest have definitely caught up here.
Yeah, but do you think it's worth giving up your life for the second Wisdom Rune?
I think only the first one. Unless you're like a level 6 support, then you do it for sure. He was very high level though. Gory has sat top for a while, so that was a big kill to give up.
Yeah, he's been farming against the Darkseer for a while because TA2000 doesn't need that lane. He's been farming up jungle.
And I think that's something EG should have prioritized a bit more, is kicking that Phoenix out of top when they could.
What was that move?
I have no idea.
Surge into Infest to take the boar, and C-Smile needs some help with the mid lane. The arrow blocked! Darkseer comes in, lets C-Smile get off the Rolling Thunder. It looks like Whisper's gonna live off the mech. He's gonna be low here. He vacuums back in TA2000 and will die. Whisper will die for that one, but well worth it.
Look at the damage on the ET right now. That's a max Spirit Elder Titan.
Yeah, he's running at Omar. Omar, is he gonna get punched by this one? He doesn't have any more leap charges. They don't even need the stomp to land. The Fade will bring him down. Unknown if it's Whisper intentionally blocking that arrow, but it did save the team fight for sure.
I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if Whisper will ever tank an arrow for the boys. I think he just didn't see it. Either way, you have an Arcane Rune Pangolier with Diffusal. He's been tanking out, can't get bursted. This is where the early EHP between the Pango, the mech on the Darkseer, and the Infest just work out wonderfully. You don't have the damage right now of your Quest without the egg surviving, which was used on that Wisdom Rune earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe wish you had it here, as Caveman Dota with the 4 melee Darkseer lineup starting to heat up. And yeah, that max Spirit on the Elder Titan is a very interesting choice this game. In theory, it can work out if you ever want to commit a surge on him, or if Panda can just get in there and start smacking people. It's a lot of damage early on a hero that maybe Quest don't want to focus. The downside is you give up extra stomp and aura levels, which, you know, you have some back combos with. The extra sleep duration is a little nice to buy time for maybe a second rage or another surge.
I'm not an ET expert, but I would positively say that...
Well, not many people are, Cap. I mean,
I know,
it takes a real
you're
rare
a special breed
of a Dota player to be an Elder Titan. That's the finest of all the Dota players.
If you don't have a lot of magic damage, especially ranged spells you're throwing around, I feel like leveling up the aura isn't as valuable. Would you agree with that? Like, they have swashbuckle physical damage, lifestealers getting in there punching people, physical damage, right?
Sure. I think leveling Stomp is still good, though.
Okay.
I think extra sleep duration and even the little damage is not bad. I don't know. I tend to feel the 4th point in the Spirit is a little overkill a lot of times. Well, we've been seeing people favor it more. If you get the damage in, ultimately it will always feel good. It's just a question of what your impact of the fight's going to be, what you think you can reliably do. If you're not playing versus a bunch of purges, if you think the stuns are going to go on your cores, it's going to free you up to get in there and get 2 big right clicks, then it is worth it. Stomp will land on 2, and the roll will prevent any TPs out here.
Air Splitter, can it snap it back? It will not, and they've lost sight of TA2000. Drop a sentry, spot him for a second here, but they're splitting targets. They're not sure where to go. TA2000 hit by another swashbuckle, and another stomp is gonna land. They've got him.
Yeah, Panda just had his number, man. The dust, the drum to keep up the move speed. He lands 2 stomps on TA2000 here. Elder Titan has done work for EG in this game. And it's only going to get better as you level the stomp, you level the aura. I mean, you don't have a huge amount of the magic damage thrown, but you do have ion shells, you do have Fade Bolt, plus whatever Matthew's going to steal in the fight. It's not nothing because did not respect the burst. Did not think they were all there. That is the one really deep ward for Quest. They're just playing around it. That is what this tiny Mirana will always give you, a chance to just catch heroes off guard.
Look at C-Smile. This is very aggressive positioning by him, and he might get caught for it. Oh, Spirit. But he knew he just cannot get his blink off here.
I mean, he's very tanky here. Aegis plus Shield Rune, basically 3 lives on this Pango. You also have a Greaves completed on Whisper to back this up. these are not the targets you want to go on if you're noob. This is the correct call, even with that Lifestealer dead. That fight is a little awkward. You probably want to wait for the next Beastmaster aura here if you're Quest. And try and take a fighter on that, plus your level 2 egg, which, yeah, it's level 2 egg already up. All that XP that Kiori got earlier, he's rushing Hex again. Some of the big buy man is going to be there. Man, Panda is just putting him on a clinic with these stops, man.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He keeps on just very aggressively positioning himself around the map, somehow finding these heroes. And I feel like he hasn't been punished a single time for it.
No. And he's 1-0-7. Quest have not been able to stop the Elder Titan's rampage, as rare as that is in this early game. This is one of those heroes that actually skews the Naga matchups for a lot of the carries. Another reason I think the Lifestealer pick was pretty solid, because they didn't need a hero that just solo answers Naga like Sven.
Okay.
Sometimes does in certain patches, because you have ET to help you out. That's the power of Elder Titan. Okay, your carry matchup's bad? Not anymore.
Yeah, now the hero has literally no armor because what Naga Siren builds plus armor item.
I mean, even just Stomp and ET ult in a fight is sometimes enough to change the matchup.
Yeah.
Even just buffing up 1 or 2 nukes on the Naga is enough to change the matchup sometimes.
Sure.
These are very powerful spells in the carry-on-carry situation, so it's something else that maybe makes EG feel a bit more comfortable. I mean, ET is basically the #1 support versus Naga, historical stats-wise.
And now you've got even more AoE damage to be thrown around with an Aghanim Scepter done for the Pangolier.
This is a really good timing for EG. They still have Aegis, and you have stolen level 2 Roar on Matthew right now.
You know you're ahead of the game when you get an Aghanim Scepter on Pango before you hit the level 15 talent.
He's too rich for his own good.
Yeah.
Invested as well. Yeah, Matthew's looking. He has Blink here, surged up. Moonlight Shadow causing him problems. Oh, he almost got the real Naga there.
That was a close call. Gonna leave some illusions behind with the arrow to see if they can get this kill without committing too much. They vacuum to pull the illusions off of Matthew, and now Omar, who went for the kill off the Starstorm, will be punished for it finally. Because pops out to help get something.
Those little combinations are gonna be nice for quests. Like you can ensnare, put illusions, throw an arrow. You don't have to commit the real heroes. Sustain and counter initiation is gonna be there for EG though. So it pretty much has to be noob going in to secure these kills. Working towards a BKB. Quest still finding a lot of net worth on this map. I mean, EG are not shutting them out of the camps.
Yeah, they die, but they never, like, actually go back to their base a lot of times. As you can see from Noob here, who's finally going to be punished for it. He's been playing this area of the map for a really long time.
EG have to find somebody. They're just getting way too many camps right now.
Toss away, attempted.
Getting that ward helps as well. As Gem picked up for Panda. So they will try and regain some of the map control through the vision because they definitely feel like they're getting split up right now. Deep, dire wards helping Quest split push the sides of this map. They have Beastmaster on one end, Tiny on the other, and Naga pushing the waves. EG's catch is pretty limited.
Yeah, their catch is limited, and I feel like it's not the easiest for them to deal with a Heart Illusion Naga Siren pushing out lanes.
And that Heart is basically done as soon as TA2000 wants to pick it up. This is where the game can become awkward for this 5-man group up lineup from EG. The team fight is definitely favorable for them. It's just Quest don't have to give it to you.
Yeah.
Like, why would Quest ever 5v5 you right now, right? Unless they feel like you're getting too many objectives off the map in either the form of Tormentors, Towers, or Roshan. Right now, EG has had that Aegis, though the Aegis didn't do much for them. So, I don't know if Quest are that compelled to contest second Rosh here even either.
Sure.
I think it'd only be an issue if they feel Aegis on Lifestealer lets him high ground, which, I don't know about you, but going high ground versus Tiny lineup does not sound too fun.
Yeah, if you get tossed back into a Primal Roar underneath like a tier 4 tower, I don't care if you have a second life, that's probably a bad fight.
I would tend to agree. So that is something that EG are going to have to think about, itemize for, and try and solve in this game, unless they're just very happy going ultra late with their Elder Titan backup in terms of scale, which it might be. I mean, they have Elder Titan and Darkseer versus Naga. Part of the draft advantage for EG here is that they did deal with the first phase Naga pretty well. Like, they had 4 picks to do it, and these are 4 pretty damn good picks at making sure this Naga is not going to be a problem in the ultra late. So maybe they are just comfortable farming it out.
And there is Kiori's Scythe of Ice.
Right on time. I mean, he found a lot of net worth in this game, a lot of levels. If you ever get to play Phoenix like this, you're very happy because this is kind of how the hero thrives.
Quest is going to put their team fight to a test here. Now, we do favor EG when it comes to it, but we've hit a power spike with this Scythe, with the pickup of the Heart.
And Crimson for Moloch here.
Yeah, that's a nice.
So you got a lot of HP going into the Quest heroes, and then you have Crimson and Pipe to back it up.
So if you could start off with a pick-off, and they can't turn around and kill the Tiny because he's too damn tanky. A pick off on the Lifestealer would be perfect. The Scythe helps combo it. They got him.
3,000 HP.
And they're going to keep teeping into this one. They're actually going to try to play around this wall. Primal War immediately stopping C-Smile from being able to have a big impact with that Rolling Thunder. And they just cannot do the damage. Not without their Lifestealer, it's looking like. C-Smile's going to try. He's going for the Beastmaster right now. Will manage to get that one kill. TA2000. Oh, his health is gone. Oh, he didn't see that coming. What about the Elder Titan, TA2000? What about him?
Blink and you miss it. ET sends you into the fissure. Says goodbye, Ashy Carry. Nice knowing you.
I mean, the fact that he tried to fight C-Smile, and it was like, this isn't going great because the Ion Shell. And then Elder Titan gets close, and all of a sudden, he's taking so much more damage, and then the Earth Splitter knocks him out before he can retreat.
I mean, you look at this death summary for TA2000, I'll tell you who's #1. It's Elder Titan right there with 1350. It is rare you get to deal half of a Naga's HP from a 5 position. Max Spirit doing wonders here for Panda as he continues his onslaught in this game. Can they finally bring the beast down? No. Even as a pig, he's immortal. His reign of terror continues, and he's just going hags, man.
Hell yeah.
This ET is going to be a problem. They don't have good purges for him. They don't have good control. I mean, do you want to commit a roar on him? This is a fight where EG lose their 3,000 HP carry straight off the bat. I thought this was going to be way better for Quest.
Yeah, and C-Smile's roll-up here. Rolling Thunder immediately stopped by Mal.
Yeah, you get 3 heroes stunned by the egg. The first Spirit stomp, by the way, hit nothing. I think it was just completely off by Panda. A rare misstep in this game, but it does cost them here.
And it all goes wrong because TA2000 chooses to try and fight with the Beastmaster on C-Smile, and then here it comes, boom!
Yeah, you are absolutely gone.
I mean, even without the Earth Splitter, I think he was dead there, just choosing to fight into that situation.
I think Quest underestimate how tanky EG are with these Darkseer auras. Like, they have a Greaves of their own. They have a lot of sustain. Pipe was also done for Whisper there. This Pango here he's a beast. This early axe pickup for C-Smile has worked wonders here. He's dealing a lot of damage. He's burning out mana. You can't really burst him. Another shield rune picked up. That's part of the issue Quest are facing right now. Even with this Hex pickup, it's all single target initiation. What happens after that? Like, you did not win the 5-on-4. That's concerning for your idea of how to take these 5-on-5s. If your single target burst is not winning you a fight.
Yeah, you kind of need to, I think off that fight, what we learned is they need to get that pick and then kind of reset a little bit.
Yeah,
because the Naga Siren cannot just take, he can't 1v4 the rest of the team.
Now, when that second tiny jump comes in, you're probably going to win the fight off that.
Right, yeah.
It's just what happens in that interval. If the ET gets in there and does damage like Panda's been doing. That's why these stomps are really pivotal. When the Tiny goes in, you need to force his BKB, make sure that duration starts ticking, and ideally the stomp lands on 1 or 2 heroes, because then you can take advantage of that interval where Quest are waiting for the rego.
Yeah. And let's not forget, like, there was an opportunity there to song and reset that fight as well, right?
Yeah.
We didn't even use that.
That's why the read, I was with their read. Like, this looks great for Quest.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Guys, what happened?
TA2000 just not respecting the matchup against the ET. And as a result, did not manage to wrest control of this game away from EG, but it is still kind of even. EG still hold the team fight advantage and very likely will get Roshan with that. But there is this developing problem of what do we do about this illusion push that's always happening. It's subtle, but it's happening constantly.
I just think that fight propelled you in a really solid spot with your Pango and your Lifestealer. And
Bold and Malik, they're not letting anybody get close to this Roshan pit.
And Whisper traps himself, but I don't think he's too sad about that. He'll hang out with this Hawk, his new friend.
The real Naga Siren is bottom lane, by the way.
It's getting some power damage.
They might lose their tier 3.
Yeah, significant tower damage, actually, as that butterfly is completed. TA2000 just chomps down. Tier 3 for Roshan, I guess it's best case scenario for Quest here. I don't think you can contest EG in that pit unless you have the most clutch song of your life.
Yeah.
And you're doing it into double spell immunity in the Lifestealer and the Pango.
I like this. I think this is what Quest have to play for here. Pickoffs, like, this one's kind of weird, but the arrow does land. They're going to get the kill, and now try and pop the song to get out.
Where's the stop? Where's the spirit?
They're not going to get anything to stop the TP away. Don't you just kind of have to YOLO out a Nerf Splitter there?
Yeah, that's actually something I started to learn more about with this ET here. Like, you can just throw these Nerf Splitters early to prevent the TP and wear the song duration. Is definitely a move Panda's going to think about now. Because I think the first time it happens, you kind of forget about that interaction. But now, I don't know what happened to his spirit. I swear he had it for that fight. I don't think it was still at the pit. Either way, that's another tool that EG will have to cancel these songs. Something else that makes this ET matchup really annoying. If that spirit's on you, you're not TPing out unless you want to commit for a BKB.
Yeah, the fact that you've got two different abilities to kind of counter song TP out from your 5 position, yeah, there is so many reasons this hero is good against Naga Siren. But Quest have created a weak point on EG.
Very true.
Tier 3 down, they continue to split push you. They continue to use this Tiny Mirana combo to be able to get, big kills. Maybe you can't win the 5-on-5, but you can win the 3-on-1 over and over again.
Or it's about how that fight starts. Like, you get somebody to show an EG base, that opens up the jump for noob, and then that reset becomes a lot more nice.
Yeah.
Also, the BKBs are going to come out for Quest, and that's a big deal, because ET does not help you through these BKBs. EG lose a lot of damage in. The aura's not going through, your Earth Splitter loses some value, your stomps aren't landing. The BKBs help you commit after the tiny jump for Quest, and you're going to have one on TA2000. Potentially, he's debating it between the BKB and the Nullifier. What did he just buy out for? Oh, he just bought out. I think this is a really good read by TA2000. I think after that fight top, he understands you just need BKB on Naga in this game. You need to be able to stay in there, start right-clicking people with this Butterfly mana versus the Lifestealer. BKB is your best way to do that. The alternative would have been Assault Cuirass, which is another kind of counter aura item that would help you fight the Lifestealer here. It's just not as common anymore, and I think BKB is nice versus the rest of EG's lineup here. Helps you versus the Pango and the Darkseer. Maybe you don't get back. I can buy into it. Like you said, though, that pressure point exists now, and Quest are going to do their best to exploit it, pull EG around, find the pickoffs, not get picked off. And Matthew will find Kaori. Level 20 for the Lifesteal with Lincoln's Elven Tunic going MKB.
I think the pickoffs like that are worth their weight in gold for EG because they are falling behind in net worth here. Insnare, break through Lincoln's, arrow goes out, blocked by a creep.
Oh, he got the sleep post dodge.
They'll be able to chain it now. Ogre Seal Totem won't be able to go out very far. TA2000 has to use his BKB TP out. The Earth Splitter is too late.
Panda needs to be thinking about, I mean, it's not easy, right? It's a game of cat and mouse. I'm not saying these are reliable to get. It is something you will think about more as this game progresses. Still, you get a BKB out of the Naga, you get the song, you protect your Pango. This is the tough part of playing the map for EG. As long as you get out of these little skirmishes, I think they're happy. Like, they're still down some gold, but who cares about net worth in this game? It's all about the team fight and execution and the jump. And stolen level 4 Sunray for Matthew, that is a nice little pickup here.
Yeah, what I love here is how fast they're moving, right? They kick the Naga Siren out of that bottom lane. They're like, this is our chance to get a fight on their side of the map now. Because we have been playing on the Radiant side for so long. We need to be able to play on their side, use our team fight advantage, and start threatening a winning condition of going high ground.
And taking these objectives. Your window to take these objectives is kind of limited to the Aegis on the Lifestealer unless you win a fight or get a big pickoff. So you need to make it count. These periods where you get Quest back onto their side of the map are invaluable for your lineup right now. Getting lanes in, because look at the two side lanes right now, right? Like, you group up for mid instantly, Naga Illusion's down one, Tiny on the other side of the map. Then you have to go back and deal with this. These Naga Illusions, like you said, are not the easiest for your lineup to deal with directly. You just feel like you're getting dragged around. You don't feel like you're making progress here, even if the game is technically staying even. Can sometimes be a mentality thing. I don't think like I said, I don't think EG are concerned with fighting the Naga late game directly. It's more about what it does in terms of numbers advantage or picking you apart. If you make a mistake, your map collapses. You just got to maintain the focus here. Another pickoff definitely helps. I don't know if Rubik's the #1 Infest target I would think about, but it has worked out here.
Yeah, it kind of has. I mean, when you know that Quest isn't going to fight back, Matthew is able to kind of brazenly run around looking for kills.
And where is that point for Quest, right? I feel like it's been some time since we've seen them make an aggressive move outside of that Crimson hard timing way earlier. They do have 3 BKBs.
They could have gone for Bakad.
That arrow actually landed? What? Okay.
Yeah, landed like inside of him as he came down.
Yeah, they need a basher here on
C-Smile is going to need that, or Lifestealer, or both.
A nice little move by Quest. They get a pick off mid on that Rubik that's been annoying, and the waves are getting cut by Naga here.
And they've got a Silver Edge on Nukes. That's going to help out even more. There is still, though, like you said, the advantage of EG. It really is, I think, such a mentality thing at this point. You just got to keep reminding yourself, guys, it's fine if we go late. Right? It's like, we don't have to feel too pressured, the fact that they're doing all this split pushing and stuff. We always have the advantage.
I mean, they can win the late game 5-on-5s. I just don't know if they're going to get them in a fair scenario.
Yeah.
The way Quest are gearing up here, it's going to pick and pull you apart. Like, that's kind of what this Silver Edge on the Tiny is designed to do as well, right? Sure, the break is nice. I think it's more about just abusing vision. Like, you have a Silver Edge Tiny running in, you have some Beastmaster vision, you have Naga Illusion vision, you have Morana ulti. Oh my god. It's actually one of the most toxic vision lineups I've seen in a while. Like, how do you see anybody on EG to jump them or take the fight fairly?
They got the 20% evasion from the Moonlight Shadow.
Also a factor.
Malik is going to go Force Staff. Like, that goes to show. It is like evade, evade, evade.
Yeah, just kite the fights out. Let New pick and pry them apart. That's the name of the game here for Quest. We'll see if they can accomplish it. I mean, yeah, they have double Force Staff already, and Malik's going another one. So EG will find them. Maybe get the
C-Smile boldly jumping in there. Might pay the price for it. He's going to get a little bit low. The stun landed. The arrow went through. No C-Smile for this fight. The Supernova is going to last as well, so EG have to reset. They're going to lose Matthew on top of this one, and the Song is going to look to catch more.
They want Pakaz with another sleep arrow. It doesn't land.
Oh, it slips right past him, and now Pakaz is able to fight back, so we can't actually grab anybody here. Even if he's surged, he's having a rough time. Now he's going to be ensnared. Fortunately, there's a Lotus Orb to remove that. Pakaz getting a bit more distance away. Omar is trying to get him with the Yule Scepter into another combo, but a vacuum onto 3. That's pretty nice. Noob is already killing heroes on the side as well, so he's going to come back into this fight. Pakaz has a limited amount of time of vulnerability to work with. Now the rage is gone, so now he's going to be hit by all these stuns. He needs a way out of this one. Infest up in 1 second. He can jump into the Dark Seer, but he's too far away. Whisper will now be chased down as well. Omar... Okay, does manage to blink away. Somebody's able to get out on the side of EG, but what a nasty engagement. And it all starts with C-Smile jumping straight into 5 of Quest.
That is not what he wanted to do right there, especially if he's not infested and has that extra EHP. He's been tanky this game, but not that tanky. He just took an arrow out of Avalanche and Snare, and that was it, man. He was stunned for so damn long. Omar definitely puts that fight on his back as he just stalls it out so much. This Yules has been annoying, the Solar Crest has been annoying, every arrow is landing here. And again, once you get 1 kill on Quest and you can reset the fight, that just becomes a nightmare for Pakaz to find anybody. There's way too many kiting mechanisms.
It's funny that you said, you know, you can win the 5-on-5, but you're not going to get it in a fair engagement. I think that fight was a fair engagement.
About as fair as you're going to get, yeah.
Yes, C-Smile just kind of gave him something. You know, he's like, all right, you could have me.
I think it's some of the frustration in this game, too. I mean, that jump is hard because it's into a high ground ward for Quest. You want to force the fight. You're smoking into them, right? You don't know if they're all there clumped. And it's the frustration of this game. If you're getting worn around the map, when the fight finally comes, you're like, okay, if we can't win the fight, then what the hell are we doing in this game? I understand it. It's just not the initiation we're looking for, and all that Pango net worth goes out the window. I mean, this is like Pakaz's 3rd rage, and he gets 1 hero out of it.
This Avalanche separating the two. Pakaz had just a small little window there to infest, but Whisper was too far away to get inside.
It's also a fight where Panda, he did have this Ags on the ET, but he did not feel confident enough to engage during that Spirit timing because the Egg was buying time for Quest.
Yeah.
So they have some mechanisms in this Moonlight, the Egg, the Morana, or the Naga Sleep. It's a lot of just stall, right? You can stall out a rage, you can isolate a target, you can stop a surge. Like, where do you go in and how do you burst someone on EG? All right, they're going to infest the Darkseer now.
Yeah, see if we can get a better engagement than last time. If Whisper can hit a vacuum wall and then C-Smile gets in there with his AoE damage, that should be a much different engagement.
Yeah, look at the Hawk vision, though. Again, the vision mechanisms for Quest,
They're too good.
It's just so damn hard to bypass. I think you might have to throw the Spirit in first. I mean, Panda you're trying to scout something and then jump it blind. Roche is just dying though. While you're trying to figure out what quests are seeing, all they're seeing is Aegis Cheese right now. Refresher Shard as well. You give this away to the Phoenix or something, you're in trouble here.
Might be one of those times just to try and jump in there. They go into the pit. Nobody's there.
What do you do now if you're EG?
Yeah, Moonlight Shadow has gone out. C-Smile not getting any information. He's gonna get caught. Oh no, C-Smile might have just given it away. Oh, big crit off the double damage.
There's nothing tiny about this Tiny right now, and that is another failed initiation for EG as they just can't see anything. They are playing this game blind. Refresher Shard now on TA2000. We'll see who he ends up giving it to. I assume you're gonna give it to Kaori, and they will. So that's a double Hex, double Egg Phoenix.
We said Quest. They found a pressure point, a weak point to be able to dig at EG with this split push, and now it feels like the other dig point is C-Smile. Tipping him, knowing that his failed initiations is costing EG this game right now.
I don't think it could be him going in. Sure, if you catch him in the pit with that rolling, maybe you look like a hero. Instead, it turns out a zero.
I think you're right. I think it has to be Darkseer jumping in.
It has to be Darkseer with the Infest. You get a vac, and then you're just instantly on a big core target. However, while we're discussing this, you're just getting Megas right now.
Yep, they're not even fighting back, basically. Supernova, they do manage to get the Lotus Orb, bounce back. The Earth Splitter's pretty good, but without their carry, how good is it really?
Okay,
C-Smile,
Panda, you're the carry.
He's the carry now with his Aghanim Scepter, trying to put some damage out. It doesn't last for long. It is only as good as the magic immunity wears on.
And another arrow to seal C-Smile's fate as that egg survives on one hit. This Pango just didn't find anything in the last 20 minutes here. The vision control, the kiting in the fights, the initiation power from this quest lineup, something I think was a little overlooked by all of us and just ended up winning in this game. Like, they played around it so damn well. That's the power of these Naga Mirana lineups. Sure, you have all these cute things with ensnares and arrows and, you know, all these little combinations. Omar and Noob, the combination between the Tiny and the Mirana definitely carried the early game. It's the vision that ultimately just powers through EG. Sure, their 5-on-5 is strong. They just never get what they want out of that. Man, this is taking me back to TI-11. I'm getting some map toxicity flashbacks right here.
Yeah.
This is very frustrating to play against, I can tell you. This feels like not only a game you lost for EG, it feels like a game you couldn't win.
Rough for Evil Geniuses. Something that they're gonna have to really think about, just because this sort of game, I don't know, I felt like you had the early start that you wanted, right? Everything was going your way, and then you just couldn't lock down the game, and then you just couldn't find the right team fight initiations. You couldn't get that map control.
You did shut down Malik, you took the early tower, Pakaz had a dream start. The one thing in the early game I think they'll have to look at is like how much this Phoenix got to sit top. He got way too much sitting top. Like, he got 2 or 3K net worth for 3 from 1, got to level 9 or 10, steals their Wisdom Rune. Kaori had way too free of a game for the position that EG were in. You just got to combine these heroes a bit better. I think Panda had a great game. I think that was clicking for EG. Their supports looked a lot better this time between the Rubik and the Elder Titan. I think they did their job. This just falls down to, it's another loss without the Legion for EG. Maybe there's something there to figure out. And it's also another game where I feel as though Pangolier continues to struggle. I don't know what it is. This hero is just not scaling or finding the damage impact that we're used to seeing out from a mid-spirit type of hero, where he's just getting eclipsed by Storm and some of the other bigger names.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Evil Geniuses, they're going to have to, this might be a series that really shakes their confidence, but Quest, they are building up more and more with the stand-in and Malik. They're looking pretty good. And, well, looks to me like they're ready on stage. So we're going to go over to Tsunami with the winner's interview.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm standing by with Omar of Quest Esports. Omar, congratulations on another resounding win. It seems like you guys are starting to find consistency. Oftentimes with new rosters, that's the biggest issue. Is this ever something that's on your mind, or every single game just stands alone?
First of all, thank you very much. About the consistency thing, we work very hard. We usually try to keep it up, but sometimes some messes up. This game, it was my mess up, kinda. But yeah, we always try to fix stuff.
زي ما شفنا أعزائنا المشاهدين معنا عمر من فريق كويست بعد ما فازوا في جيم جدا عظيم. حتى الجيم الأول كان مرة ستامبل صالحهم، لكن السؤال الأول اللي سألناه إنه احنا عارفين إن كويست يعتبر راستر جديد نوعا ما، والشيء هذا هل هو دائما في بالكم، دائما في بالك يا عمر إنه هالشيء هذا يكون عائق لكم؟ لكن الجواب يقول لا، صراحة احنا دائما نحاول نشتغل قد ما نقدر إننا نصلح كل الأخطاء اللي عندنا. بعض الأحيان أحد يخطي، بعض الأحيان يكون الخطأ منه هو زي ما هو شاهدناه في الجيم الماضي، لكن بالأخير هم يحاولون يشتغلون قد ما يقدرون على نفسهم.
For this tournament, you qualified through the MENA region qualifier, which is something unique, doesn't happen often. Let's say, hypothetically, the DPC had a MENA region altogether. You've spent a lot of time playing in this region. What do you think the DPC Div 1, Div 2 would look like if it existed?
To be honest, in this current state, probably it wouldn't be a very strong region at start, but just for starters. I believe this region has a lot of room to improve. I believe it's very talented and there's a lot of potential. Yeah, I feel like this region can be a very decent region.
سألنا عمر السؤال الثاني في المقابلة بحكم انه كويست تأهلوا من المينا ريجن الى رياض ماسترز، كنا نتكلم على موضوع انه المينا ريجن الان لو كان عندهم مدخل على الدي بي سي في الديفيجن 1 والديفيجن 2 هل يقدرون انهم ينافسون على منحى العالم؟ لكن كان الجواب بكل بساطة انه بالعكس، انا اشوف انه في امكانية، خصوصا انه في البداية ممكن ما يكون في بوتنشل عالي، لكن بعد فترة طويلة اكيد انه بيكون فيه يعني منافسة من المينا ريجن، خصوصا انه اللاعبين اللي موجودين مرة تالنتد في اللعبة.
For your individual growth as a player, what's the journey been like for being in Div 2, Urdu Thunders, working your way up? Are you feeling yourself leveling up, or did you always know you were this good to begin with?
I'm kind of... I mean, I believed I'm good. I didn't believe I could reach this so fast. To be honest, it's been like this, our journey. We've been learning a lot, improving a lot. I'm grateful for my team and for everything we've been getting. We wouldn't expect it this fast, but yeah, it's going good.
سألنا عمر السؤال الثالث في المقابلة على موضوع انه بوقت ما انتم كنتوا تتنافسون خصوصا في اوروبا في المينا ريجن، هل كان عندكم توقع انكم تقدرون توصلون للمستوى هذا بهالسرعه؟ هل كنت عارف انت يا عمر انه مستواك جدا ما شاء الله مستوى ثاني مقارنه بالبقيه؟ لكن كان الجواب انه صراحه انا كنت عارف اني لاعب كويس، بس ما كنت متوقع اني بكون قادر اني اوصل للمستوى هذا بالسرعه هذه، فانا مبسوط على الشيء هذا وهو يشرح عن نفسه اكثر.
Omar, you say it's looking good, but I think it's looking great. Congratulations on this 2-0 victory and best of luck in the rest of the games. And back to the studio.
نرسل على طول للاستوديو ونتكلم عن الجيم الرهيب اللي طلع من كويست.
Thank you very much, Omar, Tsunami, and Fancy. Quest Esports is making a great case for themselves for having a MENA region in the DPC. They are a fantastic success story within Western European DPC alone, and I think a lot of people didn't think it was possible to get even more strong teams coming out of this region, but Quest is proving them wrong. They are on fire, and with this 2-0 victory over Evil Geniuses, they also top their group with a now 7-3 score. I'm joined by Faith Beyond, Purge, and Effie here to break the game down. Effie, this game, at least it was a lot closer than game number 1.
That was some high-skilled Dota from Quest. And they've impressed me so much this series. It feels like they're bringing their A-game to every game that they play. But this game was by no means easy for them. It felt like they were on the back foot for the entirety of that game up until they won. Even though they were close in net worth, it felt like they could never really engage with EG head-on, simply just by nature of EG's teamfight and their heroes. But Quest played the map so well with their Naga. Their Naga was always pushing the lanes. They were trading objectives. When EG went for that Roche, Naga was just pushing that bottom tower. They stuck around, waited for a TP. They killed with the Phoenix Hex, and then they song and they get out. They just made all these tiny little clean plays throughout the game. The Beastmaster couldn't do that much in terms of engagements, but they used his Hawk Vision and his auras to do what they can where they could. And in the end, it paid off.
Yeah, and you mentioned cleanliness. They were clean, but Pakaz was not that game. He died a lot of times by himself, and that really took his big advantage away from his team and kind of just gave it back to his opponents. So he was more comparable in net worth. It wasn't as easy for him to just overwhelm the opponents.
Yeah, they were trying to get a lead in the lanes the same way we saw Quest do that in game number 1, but Quest was very well prepared. And I believe, Fabian, you were not quite happy with the item choices that Pakaz went for.
Yeah, I think maybe Lincoln Sphere is not so good because he needs more damage, I think. And you have Lotus on Dark Sphere and can protect you from roll or something. But I think, yeah, as Purge and FE said, Quest really plays so well in this game. So I won't blame on EG. Yeah, it's true. The Quest just plays so good.
Yep, Quest is just the better team here this morning. We have our STC play analysis coming up as well. And, you know, there were quite a few fights to choose from, but this one was the one that highlights Quest's cohesion, I'd say, Purge, but also highlights EG's just not being on the same page a little bit on the fight.
Yeah, it didn't quite go perfect for them. And at this point, Quest just had a bit of a gold advantage too. I mean, they're all BKB'd here. They're separating EG out in the fight, and Penguin didn't even get his roll off as well, so it makes the game a bit harder. They did miss an arrow on the Quest side, but, you know, kiting Lifestealer is the name of the game here, and it worked out.
Yeah, and Pango dying first spelled disaster for EG because he had so much net worth, but it felt like he couldn't find his impact in these later fights simply because Quest was always set up and their vision game was so on point.
Yeah, and by this time, I mean, that vacuum was great, but by this time, Evil Geniuses is already, well, split up, as you saw on the bottom lane. Still some deaths happening, and it's too much. They try to fight 2 versus 4. Which is tough. It was actually 2 versus 5 at the very start of that engagement with the Lifestealer and the Darkseer, and it was just not enough coming out of Evil Geniuses here this morning. They still are in the middle of the pack with a 5-on-5 score, but we'll see how the day goes for them. We also chose our Quidia MVP, and it's MVP of the series. We chose a player that played the same heroes 2 times in a row. Faith Beyond, we had to give it to Kaori, the Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix, he played so good. Both games, he have his hacks on 23 minutes. It's very amazing because game 2, they are kind of...
bit behind.
Yeah, so yeah, Kaori, amazing player in this series.
And his laning was so solid in both games, and the way that he plays Phoenix is so interesting, because when you think about Phoenix, this hero doesn't really have items to buy. Like, all he needs is a shard, and that's where the hero's impact comes from, his spell kit. He's not the best hero to buy supporting items for his team, like Glimmers and Forces, because he needs to stay back in fights and look for his entrance points. So he doesn't have the cast range to buff up his teammates usually with these kind of abilities. So we often see Phoenixes after the shard go for like straight refresher, sometimes straight Shivas to enable their own egg or their own dive. But the idea of a Phoenix rushing Hex because he doesn't have to buy anything is so cool. I don't think I've ever seen it before. So hats off to Kaori for that kind of creativity.
And then he can set up ganks so easy, right? Because you just dive in and Hex. Now all of a sudden this hero that doesn't initiate can be that. And he can even do those like Hex into egg plays where they only have this like 2 to 3 second window where your egg explodes. So it was definitely very good. And he just plays it so aggressive all the time. It feels like it's not the defensive hero that you normally see in a game where you're like, it's kind of a weak laner. He's just always up in front, testing his limits on the hero. So definitely deserves MVP.
Deserves the MVP, and I think maybe Phoenix is going to be something to look out for from Quest going forward, because there's one thing that we mentioned after the draft was done. Faith Beyond said, well, I really, really, really hope. He didn't use that many reallys, but I really hope that Quest is not going to win this one, because that means we are in a meta where picking Naga Siren first phase Faith Beyond can work.
Yeah, I think this game EG still win the draft. Quest winning this game because they played so well. I accept that.
Yeah, the Naga Phoenix opener, we saw them have the same 2 heroes and pick 3 and 4 in the game before that, and they thought it was that good to do it again, and it paid off. Kaori with the MVP. The Quidia MVP, well deserved, and I'm sure we're gonna see. I mean, it's not really a hero that gets nerfed that gets banned that many times, so I'm sure we're gonna see it pop off more often.
Yeah, it's his second most played hero. He'd played it 3 matches before this game. His most picked was Shadow Demon at 6 games, so this is his second most played hero of the tournament. He still played so good, so it's a good sign for Quest going into their later games.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Evil Geniuses getting their Legion Commander banned out, you know, as a respect, like, oh, you've been winning a lot with that hero, removed. is it time to address Quest the same way?
But that's the problem. They have too many good heroes. If you have like one magic hero that you ban and the game is harder, then okay, then it's easy to play against those teams. But if they're 2 to 3 amazing heroes deep, then yeah, much harder to beat them.
Well, later today, Quest will face OG, so we'll see if OG has an answer to that. Evil Geniuses, of course, has more Dota as well to play against PSG LGD. But let's take a look at how those teams are doing right now, because in Group A, there's still games going on. We, of course, finished Quest versus EG with the 2-0 in favor of Quest. Gaming Gladiators versus Extreme Gaming. Game number 2 is still going on. Game 1 went the way of Gaming Gladiators. We did finish a series between 9 Pandas and PSG LGD. That was a tie. And then OG, at the moment, is playing Team Spirit, and they lost game number 1 against Spirit, and game number 2 is still happening right now. Effie, is there anything that stands out in particular? I think maybe... No, I think it's pretty straightforward.
I mean, I think all of these are expected outcomes. I thought that EG would draw Quest today, so our outcome was the most surprising, honestly. I expected more out of them, but maybe they're just not a morning team. Maybe that's Copium. Who knows? I hope XG can bring it back and draw a game in, keeping up with Game In's ties. Spirit winning versus OG, I expect that to be a 2-0, even though the second game hasn't concluded. And I suppose, in a way, you could say 9 Pandas drawing LGD could be an upset, but LGD had a really bad day yesterday.
And 9 Pandas have just been improving. Day 1, they were 1-3, so it wasn't looking so good, but then they just keep getting 1-1, so you know, they deserve their points.
They deserve their points. That also means that both 9 Pandas and PSG LGD both continue being tied in the bottom half of Group A's bracket. We'll see how that group fleshes itself out later on today. But with some games still going on, perhaps we can get some insight in them from the Players Lounge, where Cenk